Alrighty, friends. Hello, hello. Good to see you guys here. Hope everyone is having a fantastic evening. It is good to see you guys. So we are almost to the point now where we are starting to feel the effects here from the system, which we definitely really need to start watching out here for this storm here overall. So, but it's good to see you guys. Hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful day. I think it's afternoon still for you guys. I think the time is, let me go pull up Hawaii time here currently. Which you guys are currently at, you guys are still at 5:15. Here for me, it's 11:15 p.m., so a little bit different in terms of the time zones. But it is good to see you guys. Hope everyone's doing well, staying safe out there. Hopefully you guys are, prepared for this system, because obviously we are expecting a pretty good amount of impacts here with this system overall. So here is the current satellite imagery here. This is the infrared view, and it does look a little bit better here since yesterday's update here as far as the system goes. It is still a tropical storm here. Actually, we're going to go and bring up our cone here, so we're going to do that real quickly. But we are seeing the system still a tropical storm here. Right now, sustaining 65-mile-per-hour winds. So right now, it's actually an upper-level tropical storm at this point, in which we are gusting at this point likely into hurricane strength. We are gusting upwards of 75 miles per hour here as of right now. Let's see. What's up, Sarah? Good to see you, friend. What's up, Jane? What's up, Squashy? What's up, Terry? Good to see you guys. And Crypto as well. Good to see y'all. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you guys are hanging in there. Like I said, I know we're kind of getting to the point here where we're getting pretty close to this system making that landfall. So once again, I hope everybody's prepared for it. I hope everyone is going to be safe here with that system. So as far as the cone goes, we are expecting the system to still make landfall here as a Category 1 storm. So we've got to look out there for that. Obviously, we are expecting hurricane conditions here for the Big Island of Hawaii, in which we actually have those hurricane warnings that are in effect out there. I'm going to go ahead and bring up the National Hurricane Center here real quickly, as far as that goes. But yeah, we do have ourselves those hurricane... Oh, wow, look at this. Okay, we have those hurricane warnings in effect here for the Big Island. Now, the remainder of Hawaii, all the rest of the islands are actually now under a tropical storm watch. Or, sorry, tropical storm warning. So the blue areas here represent those tropical storm warnings, and of course, the red indicates that hurricane warning. So hurricane warning just in effect for the Big Island. The remainder of Hawaii is under a tropical storm warning, including like Honolulu and to the other areas here as well. So across the blue, that's where tropical storm conditions is expected. Across the red, this is where hurricane conditions is expected here overall. So we already have all those warnings out, and once again, we do have those hurricane warnings in effect here. Now, we are expecting the system to make that landfall here right around 2 o'clock p.m. here for tomorrow. That's when we're going to be feeling some of the worst of the system. And the current cone here from the National Hurricane Center here at 2 o'clock p.m. y'all's time, we are seeing this system here at that point sustaining 75-mile-per-hour winds, which once again makes it a hurricane here. And we will be seeing some higher gusts here, upwards of 90 miles per hour. So we are seeing potential gusts, an upper Cat 1 strength here. So we are expecting this to be a Category 1 hurricane, like we mentioned here. Now, it's going to continue working its way here to the northwest. We are expecting the system to maybe slightly weaken as it passes the Big Island. It depends on the scenario. Like we were talking about here a little bit here yesterday. It depends on what this system does, because if the storm ends up tracking a little bit further south, there's a good chance that it will still remain more intact, as opposed to if it does make a direct landfall over the Big Island. That's still up for grabs here. You can see the cone. I mean, it has it regardless, just right off the coast of the Big Island here. So a direct landfall is still definitely possible. You can see that. I mean, if you look at it, we're basically about 50-50. Half of the cone has it going over land, and half of the cone does not. So, but like we mentioned, regardless of what it does here, if it does go over the main island here, of course that will be some of the worst impacts, and even if it does go slightly to the south, there still is going to be heavy impacts at this point here. But depending on what it does here, it will determine just how much it weakens here. So then we approach here for basically the 2 a.m. marker here for the 16th. You can see that tropical storm here, upper level tropical storm still, and that's right here, just mainly south of Hawaii here, just basically south central here of Hawaii. And of course, we continue working our way westward. Now, the biggest change here is that the system's not expected to really strengthen anytime soon again, but it is forecasted to yet again become a hurricane here right around 2 p.m. for the 18th, according to the latest National Hurricane Center cone here. So the system is expected to further then strengthen as we work our way just well past of Hawaii at this point, which, we'll just continue to monitor the system afterwards. But obviously the main concern right now size for you guys out there in Hawaii. So this is what we are currently seeing with the cone. Now, once again, hurricane warnings in effect for the big island of Hawaii. The rest of the islands are under tropical storm warnings now in effect here. So as far as the rainfall goes, we are still seeing basically the same thing. They did upgrade the amount of rain for a lot of these areas, though, unfortunately. Except for the big island, you can see that we do still have that isolated amount of rain here for the eastern side of the big island, up to 25 inches of rainfall. Now, that's honestly a little bit over 2 feet of rain. Which, as you can imagine, is definitely pretty darn catastrophic as far as that rain goes here. So across the dark red, we are seeing that 16 to 20 inch margin. Of course, the lighter red here, we are seeing 12 to 16 inches. Orange, 8 to 12 inches. You can see here just east of Maui, we do have actually another area here of 8 to 12 inches of rainfall here, which that is a lot of rain here, up to a foot or so. Kind of for the, the darker yellow, we have that 6 to 8 inch margin. The yellow itself, 4 to 6 inches. The dark green, 2 to 4, and of course the light green here for 1 to 2. Now you do see across these areas, I do mention that we could see some isolated amounts here, upwards of 8 inches across the majority of these islands here, in which we could be looking at some higher totals in some of those areas. So that is something that we need to look out here for. Now, as far as the storm surge goes, they really haven't changed it since yesterday's, with yesterday's forecast here. The big island, we are still expecting the surges to be 1 to 3 foot above normal, meaning that water level here on the coast is going to be 1 to 3 foot above its normal height, because we're going to be seeing a lot of that water kind of being pushed inland here from this system. Now, elsewhere, for the rest of the remainder of the islands here, we are seeing surge potential up to 1 to 2 foot, which is a little bit less, of course, than the big island, but still, that is 1 to 2 foot above normal, in which, that could cause some coastal flooding, with all that salt water coming in here. Now, you got to remember, between that and, of course, all the rainfall, the fresh water we're going to be getting here from the rain is going to really contribute to a pretty big flooding threat here. So, from the water that's coming in from those coastal areas here, not to mention the water that's going to be falling out of the sky, the rain, of course, that is going to add to a pretty big flooding concern here overall. So, right where we stand at the current moment, if we hop on over here, these tropical storm winds are actually just to the east of the main island. So here pretty darn soon, we're probably going to start to feel some of the effects here from the system here overall. And you can see that those estimated tropical storm force winds, we're going to go ahead and pull those up real quickly. Those current estimated tropical storm force winds, you can see, are across this yellow area, which is just off the big island here currently. So we're going to really start to, feel this system here pretty soon overall. What's up, K-Jack? Good to see ya. Crypto says, just put your live stream on the big screen. Awesome. What's up, Angelina? Good to see you, friend. Hope you're doing well. Saying hello, Andrew. Praise for Hawaii. Absolutely. Yeah, I got you guys in my prayers, too. And like I said, we'll be here to cover a lot of it. I do plan on being here for a lot of it. So if you guys haven't already, consider subscribing. Leave a like and consider sharing this to help spread the word. It would be much appreciated here. But anyways, what's up, Terry? Good to see you once again. But yeah, so we are seeing that's where the estimated tropical storm force winds are at right now. Now, I'll tell you what, we're going to hop over the radar here. Let's see if we can already see it. I haven't looked yet. And actually, yeah, we can start to see that system. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's really not a whole lot of anything crazy going on now, but you can already start to see the system approaching here. So here's the big island of Hawaii, of course, and you can see, oh, what's this about? Oh, these are those hurricane warnings. Okay, so that's just showing that. But yeah, we are seeing that system definitely getting ever so closer. It looks like we're actually starting to get some of that rain already across some of the eastern side of the big island. So that rainfall is already beginning, with the system here. And right now it just seems like a bit of light to moderate rainfall, at least according to radar here. So, but it is starting to begin. Now, if we hop on over here back to the satellite imagery as far as that goes, actually, we're going to go ahead and pull up the, we're just going to pull up the goes west satellite view. We're going to pull up the infrared once again so you guys can kind of see what we're dealing with here as far as what the system does look like now, because it definitely does look a little bit better as comparing to what it did here yesterday. If we look here at the latest scan, you can see this is where the system's at now. Once again, right now the system is sustaining, 65 mile per hour winds here. The central low is now down to 995 millibars. And of course, the storm is moving west-northwest at 12 miles per hour here. So it's getting up there. It's definitely getting up there. And right now, once again, we are currently at 65 sustained. Now, for it to be a hurricane, it has to be 75 and greater. So we are just 10 mile per hour sustained short from this system being a Category 1 hurricane. So it's getting there. It is definitely getting to that point here. But anyways, here's the latest satellite imagery with that system. As you can see, we do have great circulation here. A lot of that convection is now centralized to the storm here. So, I mean, it's looking like a full-blown tropical system here as of right now. Let's see. Thank you for the star, Crypto. Appreciate it, friend. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, we're getting a lot closer, and you can definitely see, you know, where some of those outer bands are starting to work their way over here into the Big Island. So we're officially starting to see the beginning of this system kind of on the eastern side of the islands. But like I had mentioned here, as far as the current estimated tropical storm force winds are here in that yellow blob, we're still mainly just east of the Big Island, but it won't be probably too much longer before we really start to feel the effects here out of that system. So, anyways, once again, we do have hurricane warnings in effect for the Big Island here. That's where we have the red here. Of course, the blue, this indicates those tropical storm warnings here. We are expecting tropical storm conditions to occur here. Once again, hopping back over here to the rainfall. Once again, we are expecting a heck of a lot of rainfall here at this system overall. So some areas isolated upwards of 25 inches being possible, which is possible over 2 foot of rain for the eastern side of the Big Island here. So, but anyways, let's see. Crypto says so far here in Honolulu, just mild wind. Gotcha. Yeah, it's not really kicking up quite yet. Actually, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to hop you guys over here to the wind speeds. Now, this is based off of the HWRF model. Now, this is just one piece of the puzzle, of course. This is just one particular model. Now, the HWRF here suggests a direct landfall into the Big Island here of Hawaii. And that's going to be happening here right around 11 p.m. Eastern, so minus 6 hours to that. That would put us at 5 o'clock p.m. Y'all's time here for basically this time tomorrow is when we are expecting the center of that storm to be going over, if not just really close to the Big Island here of Hawaii. And at that point, we will likely be seeing some very, very strong winds here overall. And we do have to watch out there for it. Now, out there by Honolulu and all, you guys will really start feeling those winds here, probably more for the early portion of Sunday. Remember, this is one model. This is, you know, of course, one piece of the puzzle here, but that is kind of rough estimates of when we can see some of the heaviest winds of the system. And things really should start to improve as we go into basically the later portion of Sunday into early Monday here. But once again, we are expecting that system to actually pick up strength here as it pulls away from Hawaii. So in a way, you guys kind of got lucky as far as not having a stronger system. But unfortunately, I mean, despite it still being, you know, even though it's a Category 1, a lot of people are be like, no, that's not a bad storm. No, this is still going to be an extremely impactful storm here, especially the biggest concern here with that rainfall. You know, once again, up to 2 foot of rain here being possible here for the eastern side of the Big Island here of Hawaii. So, anyways, I do want to hop over here to the spaghetti models here. Now, this is a bunch of ensembles here and a bunch of models that have ran here kind of all mashed together here. So you can see those individual runs here. Now, as far as where the system ends up, you can still see, I mean, about half of these models do suggest that the system does make a direct landfall here. You can see they start to thin out for that northern and eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii. But once you kind of go towards the middle eastern and southern side of the Big Island of Hawaii, you can definitely see that, you know, there's a pretty good amount of guidance here that suggests that that system center could go directly over, in which if that's the case, that's where we're going to be feeling some of the heaviest impacts. Now, there is a little bit of support from a couple of these ensembles here that does support that system, maybe just briefly, or maybe just going straight under the Big Island. But like I mentioned, at this point in time, it's going to be close enough where there's still going to be some extremely heavy impacts here with the system, regardless of, you know, it making that direct landfall or not. The thing is that if the system does make a direct landfall over the Big Island of Hawaii, they're going to be having a bit more of a tougher time with the system, but it should allow that system to weaken a little bit, which could make it a little bit easier for you guys over here in the remainder of the islands, you know. But we're just going to have to see how that plays out there. But regardless, I mean, there is a lot of support here that still shows that direct landfall here across the Big Island here of Hawaii. So, anyways, hopping back over here to the National Hurricane Center's cone, this is the current forecast here from the NHC. Now, currently, once again, the storm is sustaining 65-mile-per-hour winds here. It is currently a tropical storm here, in which we are seeing, you know, once again, kind of an upper-level tropical storm at this moment here, 65 sustained. Now, we are just 10-mile-per-hour we're just 10 mile per hour short from a Category 1 storm here. Now, we are seeing wind gusts at this point, likely upwards towards 75. So we are likely seeing wind gusts within the system already up to Category 1 strength here. So then we go into basically 2 o'clock in the morning, your guys' time here for tomorrow. At this point, we will just be shy of a hurricane here, sustaining 70 mile per hour winds here overall. And of course, we will be having some gusts upwards of 85 miles per hour at this particular point here overall. So that is what we are going to, be seeing here as far as this system. And then, of course, as we approach our way over here into the early morning here for the 15th, we are seeing, of course, at that point, we are expecting that system here to be into that hurricane status here, into Cat 1 status here, which will be sustaining about 75 mile per hour winds, gusting upwards to 90 miles per hour here overall. And then, of course, we continue further northwestward. Now, as we go into the morning of the 16th here overall, like we had mentioned, we are expecting the system to weaken a little bit here, as, of course, it does have that interaction with the big island here of Hawaii, which will allow for, the system to hopefully, fade out. Well, not completely fade out, of course, but, maybe lose a little bit of its strength here, because these systems, tropical systems, do not like terrain. They do not like, mountains and stuff like that. So that will severely disrupt the storm's wind field if it does make that direct landfall. But if it does skim to the south a little bit, it might hold up a little bit better, of course. But, regardless, there still is expected to be some weakening with that system here. So then, of course, we approach here into the the afternoon here for you guys for the 16th. This is for 2 o'clock p.m. here, in which we are going to be seeing, at this particular point here for 2 p.m. your guys' time here on the 16th, the storm back down once again, still in tropical storm status here. So we'll just have to continue monitoring that. But yeah, definitely for the western island, still really feeling a lot of those effects out there. Let's see, no thanks to living on an island. Yeah, I mean, it has its risks, that's for sure. I mean, really any coastal areas here, you have risks where you live, but like I said, I just really hope that you guys are prepared for the system here. Like I mentioned, I mean, this is still going to be a very, very impactful storm. A lot of people are like, well, it's only a Category 1. It can't be too bad, right? No, and that's where they're wrong, because like I said, with this system, the biggest concern is not the winds. I mean, the winds is going to be a problem, of course, but the biggest concern is flooding. As you can see, once again, up to 2 feet of rain expected on the eastern side of the big island of Hawaii here, which we are seeing isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rainfall, which is, of course, a ridiculous amount of rain here. Not to mention that all of that water is going to be running down the mountain here. And of course, piling up here towards the coastal areas, not to mention with that storm surge we're seeing, a little bit of that coastal water pushing inland as well. So between the, the surges, of course, between the rainfall and all, I mean, of course, there is, a big flooding concern here overall. So, I mean, even for the other islands here, we could see isolated amounts upwards of 8 inches or so. So across the dark red, once again, 16 to 20 inches of rain expected. The light red here for 12 to 16 inches overall. And of course, as far as the orange goes, we have 8 to 12. The dark yellow 6 to 8, the yellow 4 to 6, the dark green 2 to 4, and lastly the light green here 1 to 2 inches here overall. So anyways, let's see. Hawaiian says it's definitely the winds. Rains can handle. Nobody can handle 25 inches of rain. I don't know where you're getting that from, but nobody can handle that amount of rainfall here. So it's definitely not something to brush off. There's a lot of people who is completely underestimating this system. I mean, shoot, having 2 feet of rain, that is ridiculous. Not to mention, it's going to be rolling down the mountain and piling up in those lower areas here on the coastal regions. That is going to be catastrophic for these areas here. And for you to say that rain's not going to be a problem, I don't know where you're at, dude, but seriously, rain is going to be a massive problem here with this system overall. Let's see. Terry, thank you for the $2, friend. I appreciate your support. Greatly appreciated. The landslides will be a massive concern. Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing, having such a lot of saturation, on those, on the mountain, of course, with all that rain that's going to be falling, it's going to really loosen up the ground here, in which, of course, mudslides is going to be a bit of an issue here. Anyways, but hopping on over here into these surges, y'all. So we are seeing 1 to 3 foot of surge across the big island here of Hawaii, which, of course, we are expecting, some coastal flooding to occur, not to mention, this is the saltwater flooding, of course. And of course, we do have, in addition to that rainfall we are talking about here as well. For the remainder of the islands here in Hawaii, we are seeing 1 to 2 feet of storm surge here across the remainder of everywhere else here. So we are still expecting relatively on the lower scale of, surges, of course, which is good. I'm definitely happy to say that. But I mean, still, a couple feet of surges can still be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Especially with all that rain that we're going to be seeing here overall. So that is what we got to really look out here for overall. Let's see here. Hawaiian says you're born and raised. I don't care where you were born or raised, dude. Like I mentioned, 25 inches of rain, regardless of where you're at, is a big problem. And honestly, like I mentioned, just do not underestimate these systems. I mean, yes, it's a category 1, but just because it is does not mean that you do not have to prepare for this system. In fact, like I said, the biggest concern's not strictly the winds. It is the flooding between the coastal surges and especially the rainfall. That is where the biggest concern is. And honestly, for you to say that that's not going to be a problem, that is insane. That is absolutely crazy. So you do what you want to do, but I'm going to continue to update you guys and let you all know what you need to do to prepare. And for everybody else who does care, of course, I will continue to update you guys. But anyways, like I said, yeah, up to 25 inches definitely is a lot of rainfall here for the eastern side of the Big Island here. And like I mentioned, for the other islands, we are seeing isolated amounts here upwards to 8 inches, which, even 8 inches of rain is a lot and definitely is a big concern here, as far as that goes. So, I mean, there's multiple concerns here. Not to mention, like I had mentioned here, as far as it goes, we have the rain concern, the flooding concern, the surge concern. Thankfully, on this system's not as bad because it is a lower hurricane, it is a lower category, but the rain is the big issue here. Not to mention, I mean, those winds are still going to be damaging winds. We're still seeing those potential gusts here at landfall up to 90 miles per hour here from the National Hurricane Center here overall. And you can definitely see here, those wind gusts here up to 90 miles per hour, which you can see, which would be 80 knots here if you're wanting to know in knots here. But anyways, yeah, so we are seeing the heaviest of the impacts here happening right around 2 o'clock p.m. For your guys' time here. So this is for y'all. For me, it's 8 o'clock Eastern. We're 6 hours ahead of you guys. So this would be 2 o'clock p.m. for you all, in which, once again, that is what we are going to have to, just look out for as far as the timing goes. The heaviest is expected to be here for, right around 2 o'clock p.m. here for the 15th. Once again, expecting to be sustaining 75 mile per hour winds here and gusting upwards to 90 miles per hour here overall. So then, of course, we continue further down in time here into 2 a.m. on the 16th for your guys' time. Now, this system, according to the Hurricane Center, is expected to still be pretty darn strong. Just a 5 mile per hour difference of it being a tropical storm to a hurricane here, in which we are seeing the system, a tropical storm here for the morning here of the 16th overall, in which we will be sustaining 70 miles per hour, which, once again, that's only 5 mile per hour short here of a category 1 storm here, which we will be gusting upwards to 85 here overall. So then, of course, we continue moving westward, still expected to remain a tropical storm. Some slight weakening is expected due to some kinematic issues, to some wind shear that's going to be kind of pushing against that storm. So that'll hopefully kind of weaken it a little bit, but it really wouldn't matter at that point because at that point, it's starting to move away from Hawaii anyways. And then, of course, it moves out of the sheared environment in which strengthening is expected to reoccur again because those sea surface temperatures are still very, very warm. There's still going to be a plentiful amount of moisture here with this system. In addition, like we mentioned here, of course, a shearless environment or relatively shearless environment overall. So anyways, see, I like this channel now. Yeah, like I said, I'm just here to help you guys, and like I said, we definitely need you guys to, we definitely need you guys to prepare for this system here. Like I said, I hate to see how many people are underplaying this system, because like I mentioned, there's just a lot of impacts here with that flooding especially, and I just want to make sure that you guys are, staying safe here with that system, and just as much as I can get the word out here for you guys, I will. Anyways. Okay, Jack, I really don't mind if people do, honestly. Me, on my end, I'm not going to be swearing or anything like that, because I'm trying to keep it family-friendly, but for the people in the chat, if they want to, I don't really care, so just a bit of a heads up in the future. But anyways, yeah, hopping back over here into the rainfall forecast, once again, upwards of 25 inches of rain is expected here for the Big Island of Hawaii here, in which we are seeing up to 2 foot or more in some of those areas here being possible. Not to mention, a lot of that rain is going to be running down the mountain, so it can't really accumulate on top of the mountain, of course, considering it'll be running down slope, which will pile up on those coastal areas here. Not to mention, of course, once again, the storm surge coming in here as well. But we are going to be seeing here, we are going to be seeing, once again, here upwards of 25 inches overall. Across the dark red, we are seeing that range of 16 to 20 inches here overall. The dark red here, we are seeing, the light red, we're seeing 12 to 16 inches here. The orange, 8 to 12. The dark yellow, 6 to 8 inches. And, of course, the yellow here, 4 to 6 here. And the dark green, of course, 2 to 4. Light green, 1 to 2. Now, for a lot of the islands here, for central Hawaii, we are going to be seeing here, even some isolated amounts here, up to 8 inches of rainfall for a lot of these areas. This does include Honolulu. You guys are included in potential for, isolated amounts here up to 8 inches of rainfall, which is, even that alone is still a lot overall. So we got to watch out for that, of course. Out there by Maui, just kind of on the eastern side, we do have, 8 to 12 here. 8 to 12 inches, which, that's up to a foot or so of rain still being possible across those regions. So, we could definitely expect there to be some flooding on those regions as well. Now, hopping back over to the surges, like I mentioned, thankfully the surges, they could be a whole lot worse with the system, of course. Thankfully, they are fairly low, as far as surging goes. But there is still going to be some impacts with surges. We can't just say, okay, there's not going to be any problems with surges. No, that's not the case. There is going to be some more of the mild concern for surges and all, because we are seeing 1 to 3 foot of storm surge here for the big island of Hawaii. And, of course, the remainder of the islands, we are talking 1 to 2 feet for everywhere elsewhere. So, it is enough to cause still some coastal flooding and, of course, still some, surge concerns, of course, with this. Because, this is going to be 1 to 3 foot above that normal level. The water level is going to be 1 to 3 foot above because the winds are pushing in all that water, which is going to allow for those coastal areas to swell up a little bit. And for people who are directly on the coast, who's like right on the beach and stuff, that will definitely, that water level will be a lot higher here overall. And of course, with that rain coming down the mountain and all, that's just going to lead to a lot of flooding here overall. So, anyways, let's see. So the wind right now makes me nervous. Yeah, the winds are definitely going to be pretty strong, but thankfully, once again, it could have been a whole lot worse with the winds, but, yes, they are still strong, or, the winds are still going to be strong enough to, cause some problems, like trees, of course, power outages to be expected, trees falling down on power lines, branches coming down from trees. If you're near trees, that could be a concern. Another thing, like we mentioned, is the landslides. From the amount of rain that we're going to be getting, it's going to really soften up the ground here, and, of course, on the mountain, it could allow for, some landslides to occur, just because of the sheer amount of volume of water, that we're going to be, seeing here overall. So, I see Lala's intelligence. Oh my gosh, I haven't heard about those in ages. Anyways, but yeah, head back on over here. Y'all, I actually do want to go ahead and show you guys the warnings that we do have here right now. So we are seeing, once again, hurricane warnings in effect here just for the big island of Hawaii, in which, all these areas are expecting hurricane conditions here. So once again, hurricane warnings are in effect. You can see right here. Hurricane warnings are in effect for the entirety of the big island of Hawaii, which, once again, the landfall is expected here for 2 p.m. Saturday, your guys' time here in Hawaii. Now, for literally the rest of Hawaii, we are seeing tropical storm warnings in effect here. Once again, this does include Honolulu. This includes basically everywhere else. Even did you guys name this island out here, or is there a name for this island out here that's just west? There's a tiny little island, but anyways, all of the rest of the islands here are under those tropical storm warnings out there. So that is, once again, a big concern here. Mainly for rain. Once again, the wind shouldn't be as strong as, say, in the blue areas as it is for the red, but still, there is still going to be strong winds everywhere here in Hawaii. So we could definitely, expect that here overall. But anyways, I tell you what, friends, we're going to hop directly into, actually, I want to see if there's any hurricane hunters on the system right now. So let's go ahead and actually try to pull that up here real quickly. Let's hop on over here. We're going to pull up recon missions. We might have some storms. Actually, look at this. We have the hurricane hunters inside the storm right now. Look at that. All right, so looks like they've been doing some drop sons here. Pressure down into 9. Let's see. I see 992 millibars. I'm not sure if that's on point or not here. I'll tell you what, we're going to pull up some of these drop son views. Looks like it is a relatively saturated column, meaning that there's not much dry air to get involved with the system, which if there was dry air, that would allow the system to be weakening. And the fact that, there isn't much dry air in this system, honestly, is telling me that, it's pretty saturated, which is good for the storm's sake here. I tell you what, I'm actually going to bring it up on Tropical Tidbits here. Let's go back over here to recon. So yeah, this is, well, there's actually a couple missions that they've been doing here, it looks like. Here, this is one that they finished. This one's one that they finished here, too. Okay, so it looks like they did record a low down to 993 millibars here overall. So this was the last scan. Actually, sorry, the last scan was 995, but they did end up recording 993 millibars in that system, so it did go up a little bit. But right around in there, we're kind of in mid to lower 990 millibar range here, in which it is expected to, of course, drop here overall. Let's see here. My question is, what will happen to the main island with the of course, with the volcano erupting? I mean, the storm itself, I mean, shouldn't directly, affect the eruption. Of course, with the heavy rain falling on the lava, could help cool down the lava a bit more, of course. Because, yeah, I mean, you guys do have that volcanic activity here as well, so y'all are just getting absolutely pounded out there. But no, I mean, as far as the hurricane or anything like that, making the volcanic eruption worse, no, it won't do anything like that. But the rain itself, I mean, like I said, could help cool down some of that lava quicker, if you think about it. But anyways, let's see. Apparently, Indiana has evacuation. Really? Huh. Wonder what's going on out there. But anyways, I tell you what, friends, we're going to hop over here into the future radar here. We're going to take a look at the HWRF model. Now, once again, this is just one piece of the puzzle. This is just one particular model here overall. And so as we go our way down in time, as we work our way down in time here, we are going to be seeing, of course, a lot of those bands starting to work their way in. Right now, we're actually starting to see some of that rain working its way into the big island of Hawaii. But, once again, we are expecting the heaviest amount of impacts to be right around 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. Or, sorry, 2 o'clock p.m. your guys' time, HST. For us, this will be Eastern Daylight Time. So right around 2 o'clock p.m. here for you guys tomorrow, that is when we are going to be expecting, some of the strongest effects here. So basically at this point, we are going to be having, a lot of those surges starting to become a problem for a lot of those coastal areas and all, and which that is something that we got to really look out here for one. Not to mention some of the heaviest rains, the strongest winds. In which that is what we are definitely going to be seeing here at this particular point. Now, given the system, why is this big like that? Hold on, let me adjust the size of this. Hold on one sec, if I even can. Well, I was gonna draw some arrows for y'all to kind of show y'all where everything's at. Oh, you know what? Hold on, arrow size. There we go. Okay, that's a lot better. Yeah. So basically, because the system here, does rotate counterclockwise, so we're gonna have a lot of that. A lot of that water kind of push inland. A lot of those winds are going to be kind of pushing inland, of course. And on the opposite side, we are going to be seeing, of course, the same thing. Why does it always default to the really big arrow sizes? Oh my goodness. Anyways, but yeah, there you go. Okay, there's a lot of arrows there, but you guys get the point here. But basically, we are having that counterclockwise rotation. A lot of that strong winds are going to be pushing against the coastal areas here. We're going to see a lot of that water being pushed up against the coast. On the other side, it will briefly pull away from the coast until that low goes over. Then, of course, it'll start to pull back in. So, like I mentioned, the waters are going to be pretty darn rough out there as far as the system goes here. In which, we got to watch out there for it, especially really for those coastal areas here too, of course. Now, the HWRF model is, once again, one piece of the puzzle. It does show the system working directly over all of the islands. Now, I honestly believe that this is more of an unlikely scenario at this particular moment. It seems like, it really seems like majority of the ensemble guidance now suggests the system to be a little bit further southward of kind of where this model shows that center being at this time here. For you guys, this would be 5 o'clock p.m. 5 o'clock a.m. on the 16th, in which you can see out there by Honolulu. That would be kind of right around the closest time for you guys of the system being the closest point to you. So let me actually pull up the ensembles here real quickly. I'm going to go ahead and show you all kind of what the hurricane models show and all that stuff. So we're going to bring up the spaghetti. In which you can see that, yeah, majority of the density, where you see the brighter red, that's where there is a lot more agreement between these models. And you can definitely see, what the HWRF showed, kind of that system going up here. That is more of an unlikely scenario. More than likely, the center of that storm is going to be somewhere in here. Of course, there is that error margin, that error, of course, that area of uncertainty. In which, the storm center could be as far down south as over here. It could be as far up north as over here, which is unlikely. More than likely, it's going to be somewhere kind of in the middle here, which like I mentioned, regardless, even if it does go a little bit further southward than, forecasted for, I mean, there still is going to be a lot of impacts here with this system, especially with the rain and all kinds of stuff like that here. But according to the spaghetti models, I mean, you can see, obviously, once we continue past Hawaii, there's a lot of uncertainty that really grows with the system. One thing that we are very confident on is that the system is set to actually strengthen as we pull away from Hawaii here. Now, we are expecting the system is currently strengthening as we are speaking right now. And which is going to continue to strengthen up till the point that we make that landfall or that near landfall here on the big island of Hawaii. And so at that particular moment, that's where it's going to be its strongest for Hawaii. Once again, the strongest surges, the strongest winds, the heaviest rainfall, and all this stuff will be happening at that point. Like we had mentioned a little bit ago, guys, depending on where it goes, I mean, if it does take a little bit more of a southerly track and misses the island, the center misses the island completely, that could allow the system to be a little bit more stronger as it passes the other side, which, I mean, could allow for stronger winds elsewhere in theory. But yeah, if it really makes a direct landfall on the big island here, I mean, really digs its way inland, at that point, I mean, there could be a pretty good amount of weakening on the system to where I would not be surprised if it's a tropical storm once it passes the other side of the island because, once again, hurricanes don't like mountainous terrain very much because it completely disrupts their flow, between mainly the low levels, of course. But still, that just is not good for tropical storms and tropical systems, I should say. They just don't like it very much. But anyway, so that's what we got going on there here, y'all. So if we hop on over into the official forecast here, once again, from the National Hurricane Center. Also, you guys probably noticed this system over here, too. This is Hernan. I know it's tracking towards Hawaii, but I don't expect anything of concern right now. If it does become a problem, we'll let you guys know. But our main focus right now is, of course, Lala. But yeah, we are currently seeing the system, once again, sustaining at the current moment 65 miles per hour. So right now, at the current moment, we are sustaining, constant winds of 65 miles per hour. We are gusting upwards towards 75 miles per hour right now. So we are likely seeing some wind gusts at this moment. Now, this is off the coast of Hawaii, of course, at this moment. But we are possibly seeing at this moment upwards to 75 mile per hour wind gusts, but they could be a little bit stronger than the sustained winds, of course, in which, would be right there at that Category 1 threshold. As far as wind gusts, sustained winds is what we go off of to determine the storm strength. Then, of course, as we go into 2 o'clock in the morning here for tomorrow, so this is being the 15th, the day of that landfall, here for tomorrow at 2 o'clock y'all's time, we are going to be at the point here where we're going to be near hurricane strength. And at this point, we are going to be sustaining about 70 mile per hour winds, and we're going to be gusting about 85. So we are going to be gusting kind of in mid-upper level Category 1 strength at this point. And then, of course, our closest approach here is, thankfully, going to be during the daylight hours. It's going to be 2 o'clock p.m. your guys' time here at the point of the strongest part of the system here. Now, I do definitely plan on being live for you guys. I do want to be live for you all and do some coverage and stuff like that. So, once again, if you're new here, consider subscribing. Maybe leave it a like. That way you guys can, stay on top of this here as well. Because we're going to be live and doing some coverage here with the system for you guys. And we'll make sure that you guys are up to date here. But yeah, by 2 o'clock p.m. tomorrow afternoon, we are going to be seeing sustained winds of 75, which is Category 1 strength, with gusts up to 90 miles per hour. In which that right there, those gusts are really going to cause some impacts here. Anyways, then of course we continue further down in time as it passes through the Big Island. It's going to weaken a little bit here, but the Hurricane Center only has it weakening by 5 mile per hour winds, still sustaining 70 mile per hour here for 2 a.m. on the 16th, gusting up to 85 still at that point. You can see that at that point it would just be relatively southwest of Honolulu, and then of course continuing westward here over into the afternoon for 2 o'clock p.m. on the 16th. A little bit more weakening is expected here overall, in which we are seeing 65 sustain with gusts up to 75 at that point. So because we are expecting a little bit of shear involved there overall. Let's see here. Douglas says non-event, standard Midwest windstorm. Well, I tell you what, friend. If this is a standard Midwest windstorm, would there be 25 inches of rain with that system? Because that's actually what I was getting ready to go into here overall, was hopping back over to the Hurricane Center. A typical Midwestern system would not be producing up to 25 inches of rain. which, that's what we're going to talk about here. So yeah, in for the eastern island here, I mean, of course, the big island of Hawaii. Here for the eastern side, we are seeing up to 25 inches of rainfall, which is up to 2 feet of rain for the eastern side of Hawaii, the big island, of course, once again. Across the dark red, we are talking 16 to 20 inches of rain total. The red here for 12 to 16. Orange, 8 to 12. That dark yellow, 6 to 8. And, of course, we are seeing 4 to 6 inches here of rainfall across the yellow, which, as you can see here as well, for the majority of the other islands as well, we could see isolated amounts upwards of 8 inches of rainfall, which is definitely a pretty good amount of rain. And you can see out there by Maui, for the eastern side, we are going to be seeing, some rain totals of 8 to 12 inches, as you can see. I mean, so we could still see up to a foot or so, in which that's still a lot of rain. That is still a heck of a lot of impacts here as far as that goes. So, yeah, I mean, we'll definitely need to for you guys to obviously keep an eye out there for that too, especially if you're kind of in a lower lying spot. I mean, flooding is going to be a big issue, even in the other islands too. It's not just the big island that's going to be experiencing the flooding and all, which, while yes, they are the most impacted with the flooding, like I mentioned, pretty much most of Hawaii is going to be dealing with a lot of rain here. And even out there by Honolulu, we are expecting about 4 to 6 inches of rainfall, with isolated amounts upwards to 8 inches overall. So that is still, like we mentioned, a pretty good amount of flooding overall. Now, hopping on over into these surges once again, y'all, we are currently seeing, I mean, the surge is thankfully relatively on the lower side of things, since this is a Category 1 storm. Once again, don't let that deter you from being aware for the system. Just because it's a Cat 1, do not brush it off, which I've seen, honestly, I've seen more people than I'd like to admit say that they're just kind of in that mood where they're just like, oh, it's not going to be a bad storm. While it is a Category 1, once again, as we just determined, flooding is going to be the biggest concern with this system. But as far as surges go, thankfully, I mean, it could be a whole lot worse with the surges. For the big island of Hawaii, we are talking 1 to 3 foot of surges. Now, this includes the entirety of the coastal areas of the big island of Hawaii, which that is 1 to 3 foot above that normal level of water kind of pushing inland because of the strong winds kind of pushing that water inland. And so we are expecting to see 1 to 3 foot of surges above that, so or above normal levels, essentially. And then for the remainder of the islands here, we are talking 1 to 2 foot of storm surge out there. So we are still seeing a little bit of surges in these areas here too. But for as big as it goes, I mean, we're up to 1 to 3 foot here for the big island of Hawaii. So anyways, but that's what we're dealing with here. Now, as far as we hop on over here, I do tell you what, so we're going to hop over here into this map here. Now, the yellow, this is where we are currently seeing those estimated tropical storm force winds. Now, you can see just east of the big island, this big yellow blob. This is currently where the Hurricane Center thinks that there is the estimated tropical storm force wind. So that is 34 miles per hour? Or is it, 39... somewhere right in there, upper 30s, lower 40s, is where it starts. That's where we are seeing, like 39 mile per hour winds in greater. Sustained is right here, kind of in that yellow area here. I think it is 39 now that I think about it. I think 34 is depression, if I'm not mistaken, tropical depression. Anyways, but 39, is at that point here for tropical storm force. But yeah, we are seeing that big bubble there. Now, it's getting ready to start hitting the big island here of Hawaii. We're going to start to feel those tropical storm force winds here probably in a little bit. Now, as far as the colors go, you guys are probably wondering here. So the red marker here, this is that hurricane warning that we do have in effect here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the interactive map here for that one so you guys can kind of see it a little bit better. So for the red here, this is where we do have ourselves the hurricane warnings that are in effect here, in which we are expecting hurricane conditions. In this case, once again, hurricane winds, possibly 75 up to 90 mile per hour wind gusts here as far as the direct impacts here at the system. Of course, the heavy rainfall and stuff like that. So hurricane conditions is expected here across the red area, which is for the entirety of the big island. Now, for everybody else, like we mentioned, including like Honolulu, everybody else is inside of the tropical storm warnings, which is where we are expecting tropical storm conditions. Now, like we mentioned, even if you're in those tropical storm warnings, I mean, we are still expecting some strong winds to occur here. And of course, a lot of rain, as we determined here, looking at the map and all. And of course, a little bit of surges as well. So that is kind of where we stand. So basically a lot of tropical storm warnings for the blue, hurricane warnings in effect here for the red. And then once again, that yellow blob is currently where those estimated tropical storm force winds are currently overall. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that, friend. Let's see here. Life says I've been through multiple of these events here, from lava to hurricanes. Yeah, you guys are getting absolutely pounded out there. Well, you guys please stay safe. And to everybody who's in Hawaii right now, you guys will be in my prayers. I'm going to make sure to, just keep you guys informed with this system, and I'm going to keep on keeping y'all updated here with this overall. But yeah, you guys out there, please just be careful. Please be careful. And like I said, I am going to go live for this here too. I'm probably going to go live right at the point of landfall, which will be here basically at, we're going to be live probably at 2 o'clock p.m. your guys' time here. So, but you guys, please be careful out there overall. All right, so let's hop on back over here, guys. Now, I do want to tell you what, we're going to hop over into the spaghetti models once again, and then actually we're going to take a look at the satellite imagery. So right now, this is where the guidance is as far as those ensembles, those spaghetti models and all. I mean, as you can see, at this point in time, it's still 50-50 basically as far as if the center of that storm will make that direct landfall or if it will go off of the coast here. Like I mentioned, either scenario, it's still going to be nearly identical as far as impacts go. That little movement wouldn't do a whole lot. There still would be a lot of impacts and all. But anyways, however, I will say that, actually there is, I'd say about 60%. Now, this is just by roughly looking at, I'd say about 60% of these ensembles support that direct landfall over the Big Island of Hawaii, while 40%, I'd say, is pretty much just south of, once again, this is where the center goes, not where the effects are felt, but where the center could go, it could be about 40% of it, just mainly south of the Big Island here overall. So anyways, but yeah, so then of course, as we go further down in time, you can see there's really not much support having the center of that system go for any of the other islands. At this point, I think that that's pretty much ruled out here. So the center of that storm, I do not think will impact or go directly over any other islands here. If it's going to make that direct landfall, it's going to be here for the Big Island of Hawaii. Those other areas, I'd say, are honestly slim to none at this point. Just mainly south. But like we mentioned, still at that point there, we are still going to be having those impacts. Those seas are going to be very rough. That's another thing. I know a lot of you guys like to surf out there. I would heavily advise against it because there's going to be really strong rip currents with this system. You guys, if you're surfers, you probably know what rip currents are. With these tropical cyclones, there is a lot of a rip current concern here, in which definitely don't want to put yourself in harm's way there. So, yes, there's bigger waves, but it's not worth risking your life for. If you do catch yourself in a rip current, do not swim directly back to shore. Swim parallel to shore, just until you slowly get closer and closer. Because if you swim directly back, those current forces are going to overmatch you because they're strong. They are very, very, very strong here. Let's see, you got some people out there now surfing. I'm sure there is. You guys y'all love your surfing out there, which is awesome and all, but for a tropical system, it's a little dangerous, especially with the rip currents and all that stuff here. Anyways, all right, so let's hop over here into the sat view, y'all. We're going to get rid of these models for a moment. So we're going to hop into Goes West full disk here. So this is the current infrared satellite view. So here's the system. It's definitely getting closer. It's getting closer and closer here. You can see this is where it's at. Now, the center is right in here, which currently, actually, I'm going to load over the cone here as well for you guys so y'all can see that. So we're just going to throw that on top here. So once again, right now we are currently sustaining 65 mile per hour winds here. So that is what the sustained winds are. The constant winds at right now are at 65 miles per hour, and we are seeing some gusts up to 75 here as of right now. So we're kind of gusting up into lower end Category 1 strength here. Estimated to be gusting up to Category 1 strength here. Currently sustained though still at 65, in which that's that, but. As we go down further in time here, once again into 2 o'clock in the morning here, your guys' time here for tomorrow the 15th, we will be seeing this system just barely in the tropical storm territory. It's going to be going into the hurricane territory. So classifying as a hurricane, it has to have winds 75 or greater. We're going to be at 70 sustained, gusting into hurricane strength at 85 miles per hour. So, but going back to the satellite imagery here, you can see this is what the system's doing right now. It's definitely, looking a lot better than it did here, a day or two. A day, 2 days ago, as we were tracking the system. But, you can see it definitely looks a whole lot better. We have that circulation. I mean, obviously at this point, well, completely closed at this point. It looks pretty good. Tons of decent convection that's relatively centralized at this point, which is it's definitely looking a lot better than it did. We are starting to see some of those outer bands starting to approach the big island of Hawaii. In fact, actually, we'll pull up the radar here in a minute. You guys can see that we are currently seeing that. But as we go further down in time, once again, the heaviest impacts are going to be here for tomorrow, right around 2 o'clock p.m. We're going to be sustaining 75-mile-per-hour winds, which is a Category 1 storm at that point, in which we are going to be seeing gusts up to 90 miles per hour. Working our way over here into the morning of the 16th, here 2 o'clock a.m. your guys' time, 70 sustained, so just barely in the tropical storm strength. It's still nearly Category 1 strength. It's just a 5-mile-per-hour difference here. Gusting still likely up to 85. Then, of course, tropical storm for the next couple of days here as it continues working westward. It is expected to weaken a little bit as we continue westward because we are going to be dealing with a little bit of wind shear. I will actually pull up those models real quickly. Let's actually do that real fast. This is the American GFS model. So this, of course, is one piece of the puzzle. You can see this is where the center of the storm is. Now, looking at the shear, it does look like, because you can see where we have this jet stream here, you can see that we have the shear going up this way and then coming back down. So the system could run into a little bit of wind shear, which would allow for the system to briefly maybe lose a little bit of strength. But as you can see in the forecast, that wind shear is actually expected to subside and go away completely, which at that point the system could start to pick back up some strength, in which is forecasted to once again become a hurricane. And that'll occur here for basically 2 o'clock p.m. on the 18th is kind of when we expect that. But at that point, the system will be far enough away from Hawaii, which will not be really much of a big concern here overall. So at that point, the concerns will be much lower overall. But but as far as the sea surface temperatures goes, those oceanic surface temperatures, or those temperatures of the water, basically, they have to be 26 degrees Celsius or higher for tropical development to be allowed, essentially, in which, these waters in the entirety of the cone are a good 27, 28 degrees Celsius. So, these waters are beyond warm enough, of course. So that's not going to be an issue. That's the three main things for, tropical systems is the sea surface temperatures being 26 or greater, which they are in this case. A lack of wind shear. We have a little bit of wind shear it's going to battle through, but eventually will go away, and that's when the system's going to pick back up strength. And as far as moisture goes, there's a lot of moisture with the system overall. So, but like we mentioned, everything looks pretty good here with that system here overall. So, but let's hop over into radar, guys. We're going to take a look here at the radar imagery, because we do have, you can already start to see that system coming up here. It is definitely almost there. We're starting to see some of those outer bands here, as you can see, working its way in which we're already starting to see some of the rainfall out of the system. Now, according to radar here, it does look like we do have a little bit of light to moderate rainfall going on here at the current moment. But you can definitely see off the coast here, we have more of that circulation there, and that's where some of those inner bands are. Where we're seeing some of those stronger winds, of course, and overall just the heavier precipitation and stuff like that. Which it's working your wall's way. It's definitely on the way there. So we'll definitely keep an eye on the radar and all that stuff here too. I really don't think we have much going on anywhere else here in Hawaii right now. Actually, you know what? We have a little bit of showers pushing through some of the other islands too. But yeah, really not of anything crazy. Those winds right now are subtropical storm force. And for Western Hawaii, not really seeing anything right now. Stay safe, everybody. Time to turn on the generator and cook. Aloha, brother. Thanks for live updates. See you later. Aloha, everyone. You stay safe out there, friend. Thank you so much for joining, man. I really do appreciate it. And please, like I said, just please stay safe out there. And like I said, I'll be here to keep y'all updated, and I'll be here to give y'all some new updates, some new videos and streams and all, which I am going to be covering this once it makes landfall. I'll be live 2 o'clock your guys' time here, so we'll be live at that point to go live. But once again, you have a great night, friend. Stay safe, and like I mentioned, guys, if you haven't already, if you're not already prepared for the system, please make sure that you guys are ready to go. There's not a whole lot more time to prepare for the system, because we're already starting to see some of those bands we were talking about here. You can see those are already starting to work their way in. Once again, we do have hurricane warnings in effect for the entirety of the big island here of Hawaii. Tropical storm warnings elsewhere, including like Honolulu. You guys are under these tropical storm warnings here. So tropical storm conditions is expected for, like I said, the remainder of Hawaii here, essentially. And then, of course, once again, for the Big Island, we are under those hurricane warnings here. So this is basically just talks about what hurricane warnings mean, which we could see, let's see, 45 to 60 mile per hour winds with gusts up to 70 wind of tropical storm force winds until early Sunday morning. That's for that specific area that I pulled that from. Additional 6 to 10 inches of rain. I mean, there's going to be a lot of rain here on that system here. What's up, Overbuilt? Good to see you. What's up, Rose? Saying good night. See you later. All right, see you later, friend. Thanks for joining. But yeah, hopping back over here into the rain once again. That is by far going to be the biggest concern with the system. Is going to be that flooding concern overall. I mean, because we are expecting a lot of rain here. So once again, for the Big Island of Hawaii, we are talking up to 25 inches here of rainfall. For more of the eastern side of the Big Island, there are isolated amounts up to 25, which is just slightly over 2 feet of rain. And of course, across the dark red, we have 16 to 20 inches expected here, 12 to 16 here across the red, the lighter red here, of course. The orange, we have 8 to 12 inches. The dark yellow, 6 to 8. The light yellow here, or just the normal yellow, 4 to 6 inches. Then, of course, we go into the dark green, which is 2 to 4, and then the light green here is 1 to 2. Now, for a lot of the other islands here, including Honolulu out there, we are seeing isolated amounts up to 8 inches of rainfall. And out there just east of Maui, you can see here, we do have this area, this little patch of 8 to 12 inches here too. So, I mean, we could expect, a pretty good amount of rainfall even there, possibly even up to a foot, as we've determined here. So, once again, rain is going to be a big concern, and because we're getting so much rain, of course, flooding is going to be an issue with the system, but, this is going to really soften up the ground, and, especially on the mountains and all, this is going to allow further to be, the potential of mudslides and all, because we're really loosening up that soil, in which, of course, that is going to, potentially trigger some landslides here just from all that rushing water and all that stuff here. So, yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to be seeing a pretty good amount of rains here. Now, in addition to that, we do have some surge concerns, but I mean, like I mentioned, the surges could be a whole lot worse, thankfully, but I mean, there is still potential for storm surge here, in which we actually are seeing 1 to 3 foot of surges here across the Big Island here. So this is for, those whole coastal areas here on the Big Island. We are talking 1 to 3 foot of storm surge. So that's 1 to 3 foot of that water level being above normal, because we're seeing a lot of that water being pushed inland towards the coastal area, so it's causing some swelling, in which we're going to be seeing those water levels 1 to 3 foot above normal. And of course, for everybody else here, this is going to be in that range of 1 to 2 foot, which, yes, that is kind of on the lower end of surges, which, I'm very thankful for. But, with all that freshwater rain that we're going to be seeing here, I mean, that itself is going to make up and make there to be a lot of, flooding potential there. So, especially for those coastal areas here, you guys got to really be careful out there. Anyways, but that is what we got going on there as far as the surges and, of course, as far as the rainfall potential here. Now, hopping over to this map here, once again, this is basically showing us where those warnings and watches are. In addition to this yellow blob, this is, once again, right now where we are estimating those tropical storm force winds to be currently. We are just off the coast here of Hawaii, or, just off the coast of the Big Island here, of where those tropical storm force winds are at. So we are, we're pretty close here, just off the eastern coast here of the Big Island. So it won't be that much longer, before we probably start to notice those impacts here. I tell you what, we're going to turn on observations. I don't know if these are fully up to date yet, but this is a way I can currently look at the data coming through. This can't be right, is it? It says gusting up to 69 miles per hour? No, that can't be right. I mean, if that's the case, this one's gusting up to 74. Currently, this is 43 sustained, gusting 74. And then this one says gusting up to 80? Yeah, I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I buy all that quite yet. Because, I mean, those tropical storm force winds aren't even out there yet alone. That's hurricane gusts. I mean, shoot, that's like almost... I mean, that is tropical storm force gusting upwards near hurricane. That's... Yeah, I don't know if I buy that. Let's see here. What's up, Misty? Good to see you. See, it's awful and so humid in Nashville. Gotcha. Yeah, it is for a lot of us here, including me in Florida. It's definitely been a little bit muggy out there overall. But Anyways, but yeah, so that's once again that's where the estimated winds are currently. So I tell you what, friends, we're gonna hop back over here into actually here's what I want to do. This is something we haven't done yet. I kind of want to take a look at some of the individual models here. We're gonna start off with the HWRF model. This is the latest 18 Zulu run that we do have here. So once again, this is just one piece of the puzzle. This is just one particular model. According to the HWRF here, it does show that landfall. Actually, it seems like it's still trending a little bit northward here, according to this model. But showing that direct landfall, of course, on the big island of Hawaii here, kind of on the eastern side. This shows that landfall here at 5 o'clock p.m., your guys' time here tomorrow. So remember, this is one model, this is one run, of course, so take this with a grain of salt here. But yeah, according to this, that pressure here is going to be pretty much right around upper 980s. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Upper 980s into the lower 990s. Which at that point would be, yeah, pretty much, low-end hurricane, upper tropical storm here, which is expected. And, of course, expected to lose a little bit of strength as it does go over the big island here of Hawaii. Still causing a lot of heavy rain, though. And, of course, running into a little bit of shear, but eventually is expected to pick up in strength here once again, which, I mean, as we pass well west of Hawaii, I mean, there's a good chance that this system could really become quite a beast here of a storm. So then, of course, we switch on over here into the HMON model. So this is a different particular model here overall. Now, according to the HMON model here, this one is kind of showing some similarities here, showing that direct landfall, of course, here on the big island of Hawaii, in which at this point, I think it is more likely we are going to have a direct landfall on the big island than not. Either scenario is still possible, but like I mentioned, regardless of what it does, there's still going to be some nasty impacts regardless, even if it does go further, a little bit further south here. I mean, at this point, yes. But it does have that pressure a little bit lower, according to HMON. Lower 990s here overall. In which, that is what we were seeing here, according to HMON. But, yeah, still really being disrupted here by that terrain. But, further down in time is expected to be strengthening a little bit. Switching out over here into the HAFS-A model. Now, this model is a little bit more aggressive. Also having that landfall kind of more for the southern side of the big island of Hawaii here. Pressure down into the lower 990s here. In which, this would still be, hurricane tropical storm force here overall. But yeah, you can see really delivering quite a bit of, heavy rain here for the remainder of the islands and all that stuff. So, I mean, that's definitely, once again, a pretty big concern for you guys there, too, out in the other islands is going to be, the flooding threat here, too. And then lastly, I'm not going to bore you all too much with this. Lastly, we have the HAFSB model. Now, this particular model, pretty much agrees with the HFSA from what it looks like, and showing that we are going to be impacting the main island of Hawaii. Actually, all these models we looked at shows a direct landfall on the big island of Hawaii. So, but once again, pressure down into the lower 990s here overall. So, anyways. But yeah, so that is what we are seeing here with the system. So let's go and hop on over here, y'all, to the current activity. I tell you what, before we do that, I do want to pull back up our recon mission here. Actually, it looks like we have a new mission going on here. I tell you what we're going to do. We are going to load up a new panel. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and keep this for now. So this is going to be our radar panel. This is our observational panel. So we're going to keep an eye on the system here. We have mesonets and weather stations out here. We have, of course, the radar here that we're starting to see some of those bands working their way inland. But I tell you what I can do is now, since we have a new Hurricane Hunter mission that is just now taking off, if we switch on over here, you can actually see where it's taking off from. Is it from the... Oh, you know what? Let's see here. There's apparently... See, this shows that there's 2 active. Let me try this. Okay, that's that one there. Hold on a minute. AF302. Is it Air Force 302? Yep, Air Force 302. Okay. So that's the one that's currently going into that storm right now. So, okay, there you go. There you go. Yep. Just now taking off right here. Okay, so that's where the plane is now. So they're just now starting to get going here. You know what? I tell you what, I might be able to even track them on flight radar. Let me do that real quickly, because, yeah, we can actually see them in real time if we go on flight radar here, which is not a sponsor, by the way. So, anyways, let's see here. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. What is your name? Mia? Thank you so much for the $3 on CashApp, friend. I just now seen it. It was a notification from 4 minutes ago. I'm so sorry about that. I'm sorry I missed it. Here, I'll go ahead and turn on my alerts so that way I can get notified if I do get any more donations. But thank you so much, friend. That is really sweet of you. Thank you. But yeah, so I do have a way that we can monitor them in real time. So if I hop on over here, it might lag a little bit. If it lags, then I might have to do something different. Is it lagging too much? I mean, it's definitely lagging a little bit. But yeah, if we hop on over here into Hawaii, here we go. So yeah, they're taking off here from... Where are they taking off from? Was it the Big Island or the... Yeah, so they're taking off from the Big Island here. Okay, so let's hop back over here. Go back to the Big Island here. Is that it right there? So it's 340. I don't know if that's it. Is it... Wait, did it say 340? Oh, no, that's not it. Okay, never mind. Well, we'll keep an eye on it. It should pop up here pretty darn soon anyways. But anyways, let's hop on back over here, though. So one thing I do want to hop back over here to talk about you guys here, which we're going to look at here now. So bringing back up the overall cone here that we have here from this system. So like I had mentioned, kind of where we stand at the current moment here, we are currently sustaining 65 mile per hour winds here with this system. So it is a tropical storm. It's kind of a mid-upper level tropical storm at this point here. So we are sustaining, so constant winds in the system right now is 65 miles per hour. And we are gusting, so those peak wind gusts could get up to 75 right about now. So it's getting a little bit stronger. It's definitely picking up a little bit of strength here. As we approach 2 o'clock in the morning here for the 15th for you guys, that's once again your time, y'all. We are seeing the winds at this point, just almost into hurricane territory, which we are going to be seeing the system here sustaining 70 mile per hour winds, which is just 5 short from a Category 1 system, and of course gusting upwards of 85 miles per hour here at that point here. And once again, I did forget to mention this, but the system is, let's see, which way is it moving? It is moving, I know it's moving west-northwest. Let me go ahead and bring back up our Hurricane Center real quickly. Tell you what, let me go and do Hurricane Center. That way we can pull this up here so we can kind of see all that stuff here. So yeah, if we hop on back over to the NHC, so the current system right now is moving west-northwest at 12 miles per hour. The central low is down to 995 millibars here. So that is what the current vitals are of the system at the moment. But anyways, we are expecting that landfall to occur. Or that really closest approach, because there is some models that still suggest that it could just barely squeeze to the south of the Big Island here. Like I mentioned, regardless if it does it or not, there still is going to be some heavy impacts, either or. But we are expecting that closest approach here, if not the landfall here, at 2 o'clock p.m. for the 15th, so for tomorrow for you guys. At that point, the storm is going to be sustaining about 75 mile per hour winds here. So that is, constant winds of 75 miles per hour. And we're going to be seeing those wind gusts here up to 90 miles per hour here in that system. So at that point, I mean, we're definitely going to be seeing some, some pretty strong winds. Like I said, 90 mile per hour wind gusts could definitely cause some problems and stuff. In addition to of course, the heavy rain, which is going to loosen up the soil, which could allow for trees to easily come down, power outages, stuff like that. So we got to prepare for that. But yeah, that's going to be here for the closest approach is going to be 2 o'clock p.m. here for tomorrow for you guys overall. Then of course, as we go into 2 o'clock in the morning here for the 16th, now the storm will just be relatively south of Honolulu here. At this point, still, I mean, basically an upper level tropical storm sustaining 70 mile per hour winds at this point. Just 5 mile per hour sustained short from a Category 1. Gusting up to 85, which is still gusting into hurricane status here. And then, of course, a little bit of weakening is expected before it is going to be picking back up more strength here because it is running into a little bit of wind shear. It is forecasted to maybe run into a little bit of shear, which, is allowing the system to maybe weaken a little bit. Not to mention, it is going to weaken a bit, too, if it does make that direct landfall over the Big Island of Hawaii because at that point, there is going to be... these systems just in simple terms, they just don't like the terrain here. Hurricanes are very neatly organized, and that will easily disrupt their organization if they do go over those mountainous terrains there. So anyways, but that's kind of what we're talking about. Once again, the heaviest impacts here tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m. here. Now, hopping back over here into the rainfall totals. Once again, this is my biggest concern with this system here overall. I mean, because like we had mentioned here, for the eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii, we are talking isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rainfall here, which obviously that is a lot of rain. I'm actually going to turn off this light, by the way, guys, so if you're wondering why. But like I mentioned, we do have up to 25 inches of rain here in that particular system. So we are going to be seeing up to 25. This dark red here, we are seeing 16 to 20 inches of rain. The normal red here, 12 to 16 inches of rain. The orange, 8 to 12, which you can see includes a lot of the central and eastern side of the Big Island. Not to mention just east of Maui here, we do have that as well. On the eastern side here, Once again, 8 to 12 inches in the orange. The darker yellow, so this color here, we're seeing 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. The yellow, 4 to 6, which includes a lot of the other areas here, 4 to 6 inches. They did mention isolated amounts up to 8 inches across these areas here, which does include the Honolulu area, possibly isolated amounts up to 8 inches here. And of course, across the dark green, that's where we have that 2 to 4 inch margin, which, is still, obviously not as crazy as some of these other areas, but, it is still potential for some flooding and stuff like that, and some heavy rain out there. And then lastly, across the light green, we have that 1 to 2 inch margin there overall. So then, of course, hopping back over into these surges here, the surges are definitely going to be a pretty big concern here with that system. Because we are seeing, 1 to 3 foot of surges. This is kind of more of the mild surging, but it is still going to be a concern, of course. The biggest concern is really going to be flooding, which is going to be a mixture of the surges and, of course, the heavy rain that's going to be falling with it. But yeah, for the Big Island, we are talking 1 to 3 foot of surges out there, 1 to 2 foot elsewhere here. So yeah, we're definitely going to be dealing with potentially some pretty decent amounts of flooding, especially for some of those coastal areas out there. Now, hopping back over here, if you guys are just tuning in and you don't know what this is, once again, this is where we are expecting those current estimated tropical storm force winds to be. So this big old yellow blob here is where we think currently those tropical storm force winds of 39 mile per hour or greater up to 74 are at. In which you can see, it is getting a lot closer to the Big Island of Hawaii. You can see it's just off the east coast here of the Big Island. So it is definitely getting a bit closer here. It is almost there towards the coastal areas. Now, as far as the warnings and stuff go, across the red, this is where we do have a hurricane warning in effect. Now, this is where we are expecting hurricane conditions to occur out here. Across the blue, this is where we do have those tropical storm warnings, where we expect tropical storm conditions to occur, of course. So we do have a lot of warnings in place here. Like I mentioned, all of Hawaii is at least under some form of warning. All our tropical storm warnings except for the Big Island of Hawaii. That's where we have the hurricane warning that is in effect here. So just wanted to let you guys know, once again, the red indicates where hurricane conditions are expected. The blue indicates where tropical storm conditions here are expected out of this system. So I tell you what, we're going to hop back into the models for a moment. Now, I do want to bring back up our HWRF, but I do want to bring up our lower level winds here. So this is kind of showing us, where some of the strongest winds are going to be. And you can really see, so this is one particular model. This is one run, of course. And this is showing that we are seeing, some pretty darn strong winds. So we have that central low, that's rotating counterclockwise. So it is rotating in a fashion like this. So you can imagine once that central low does get pretty close to the eastern side of Hawaii, we are going to see a lot of those winds pushing directly against those northern waters there, those northern shores, in which, that's going to allow for the surges to really begin, in which we're going to start to see a lot of that wind pushing directly to the coast here. And which is going to, allow for the surges to increase. They'll really start popping off here, in which we're going to see that water level start to swell up a little bit. So, and then of course, once we get on the back side of that system here overall, so let's say once the main wind field passes, at that point, really a lot of those winds are going to be pushing pretty much parallel to the coast here, as you can see. And so at that point, those waves are going to change. And like I mentioned, rip currents are going to be a huge concern. Because of the changing of wind direction, the increase, or just how strong these winds are in general, how much water is being moved. This is going to create some very powerful currents, in which, like I mentioned, I do not want you guys to be out. I know it's very tempting with how big the waves will be, but it's not worth your all's life here. Because, like I mentioned, with these surges, with these rip currents here, that is going to be a very big concern, which can easily pull even the best of swimmers, away from the coast and out in the middle of the ocean. So that's not what we want. So if you do catch yourself in a rip current scenario, we always say that you don't swim directly back to the coast. Your instinct would be, okay, I need to get back to the coast as quick as possible. I need to swim directly to the coast. No, you're supposed to swim kind of with the current and kind of parallel. You're supposed to, swim kind of parallel to the beach, essentially, maybe a little bit at an angle. That way you'd eventually reach the beach. But that is what you need to do if you're caught in a rip current. But like I mentioned, don't put yourself in that scenario here overall. Just don't do that. Here's the infrared satellite view in the future HWRF model. Once again, showing some pretty heavy convection there at the point of landfall, which, there's not a whole lot to see here, of course, but that's interesting. HWRF shows a little bit of clearing. I don't know if that's just dry air, or if that's possible eye development. I really don't know if this system is going to fully develop an eye before it does make that landfall or that closest approach here. I mean, like if we hop back over right now, which we're going to go ahead and bring up our satellite imagery, which I'll go ahead and do real quickly. Like if we do that now, let's head over to Goes West Pacific. We'll do, actually, I tell you what, we're going to pull up water vapor this time. Let's do lower level water vapor. There you go. So yeah, you can kind of see this is where that storm is now, of course. You know what? That's actually a really nice view. You can really see there on this particular set of frames here where those outer bands are starting to kind of work their way over here into the eastern side of the Big Island overall. But, as far as that circulation, I mean, honestly, here within the last several scans, I mean, it definitely looks pretty decent. I mean, as you can see, we do have, some pretty good circulation going on there. That central low is right in here, and it is working its way towards Hawaii. And, once again, there's two possible scenarios. That central low could go directly over the Big Island or, could just go slightly to the south here. Like we mentioned, I mean, either or. There's going to be, heavy impacts regardless. Regardless within the system, but you know what? It's definitely looking pretty decent on the satellite imagery. I really wonder if it's going to clear out an eye before then, but only time will tell, honestly. Only time will tell. So, and you can also see if you pay attention to this here, how we have some of that upper level venting there. If you look, you can see those, those clouds are moving clockwise in the upper atmosphere, which is a way that the storms kind of breathe out, essentially. They breathe in, of course, counterclockwise. They're really fascinating here. And this is only in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, they're opposite because of the Coriolis effect, of course. But yeah, it's just super, super interesting. But we are seeing some great venting with that storm there too. So I mean, it's really getting that structure nice and neat at the current moment here. It's definitely looking pretty good. All right, so let's hop back over to radar here. Back over here into eastern side of Hawaii, of course. You can already see on the radar there, I mean, it's getting closer. You can already see those bands moving in. We're already starting to get some of that rain out there, which is the beginning of the mess of the big flooding threat out here. So, once again, just please make sure you guys are prepared for the flooding and all that stuff, too. Once again, we do have hurricane warnings in effect for the entirety of the big island here of Hawaii. And the remainder of the islands, these are all tropical storm warnings in effect. So, tropical storm conditions is expected across those areas. This does include Honolulu. We are talking tropical storm warnings in effect out here, so we are expecting those as well. So, like I mentioned, we're just going to keep you guys in the loop here with everything. And we are going to do some coverage here. We are going to do some coverage here for you guys. I'm going to go live 2:00 p.m. tomorrow, your guys' time here in Hawaii. So I will be live at that point here to do some coverage, of course, as the system does make that landfall here. But what I really want you guys to do is just, like I said, make sure that you all are ready for this system. Make sure you all are already prepped here and ready to go. If you all haven't prepared yet, I mean, your time's running thin. And what I want you guys to do is to have kind of the following items. I want you guys to make sure you have enough food and water to last you at least 2 weeks or so. Non-perishable food, stuff that will not go bad if the power goes out, of course, because, I mean, we're going to expect a lot of power outages here with this system. Because of the heavy rains and, the strong winds and stuff like that, as a combination will allow for some widespread power outages to occur. So make sure you have enough food and water to last you. Pet food as well, if you have pets, so keep that in mind. Also, another good thing to have is, of course, a flashlight with extra batteries. That way you have a place to see. You can actually see with the flashlight. So, medication, make sure your medicines are refilled. Hopefully you guys already got that under control. So hopefully you're good with your medicines. Let's see. Another thing, optional weather radio. That way you can receive wireless alerts and stuff like that if there is any that need to be issued. Let's see here. What else? Important documents. Keep them in a watertight bag or just any type of Ziploc bag or something, just to, because there is going to be a lot of water involved with this system, so you never know. So that would be really important to have here as well. Let's see. Optional board games. If you get caught up where you want to kill some time, of course, some board games could be fun with family. If you're, going through this with your family and all, it could be a good thing to do. Let's see. If you have a generator, make sure your generator is fueled up, ready to go. Same thing with your car. Make sure it's fueled up. If you haven't changed your oil in the generator in a while, go ahead and do so before tomorrow. I mean, honestly, like I said, any earlier the better, even tonight if you can. Let's see here. That's pretty much it. One other thing is cash. Make sure you guys have cash on hand. I mean, it is a good thing to have cash on hand. Also, a first aid kit. That's another thing I just remembered. Having cash on hand is also very, very important because, as you can imagine, the power outages are going to be happening. It's going to be hard to do transactions, of course, without power. Some areas might have generators that could power it on, but, it's still good to have cash on hand, during this type of system here. So keep that in mind too. I mean, that's the majority of the stuff. The main stuff that I would make sure you guys have here when we're ready to go. And like I said, just make sure you guys are keeping an eye out there outdoors, for the system. I mean, obviously don't be outdoors during the system, but just make sure that, if you are in an area that's really prone to flooding, just keep an eye on it. And if you have to seek higher ground, do so. Because, we're definitely going to be dealing with a heck of a lot of flooding here. I mean, especially for the eastern side of the Big Island here overall. So, speaking of flooding, heading back over here into the flooding map here. So this is from the WPC. This is the Weather Prediction Center here. So we are seeing isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rain here for the eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii. That's going to be a heck of a lot of rain here. You do see that the area here in the dark red. This is where we are seeing 16 to 20 inches of rain, which is a lot of rain, of course, which would cause some catastrophic flooding. Of course, we have the normal red here. This is the bright red, of course, 12 to 16 inches here overall across the red. The orange, 8 to 12. The dark yellow, 6 to 8 inches of rain. Now, you've noticed some of the yellow here, some of the orange here, 8 to 12 inches, is including like eastern Maui here. So keep that in mind. 4 to 6 across the bright yellow here, which that goes through a lot of the other islands out there too. 2 to 4 across the dark green, of course, 1 to 2 across the light green. Now, they did mention isolated amounts up to 8 inches for the majority of the other islands here. This does include like Honolulu. You guys are included there inside of that isolated amount up to 8 inches. So Honolulu is actually currently in that 4 to 6 inch margin as far as how much we are expecting, but we could see isolated amounts here upwards of 8 inches here overall. So anyways, let's see. What's up, William? Good to see you, friend. Thanks for joining. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in chat. I'm here to help you guys here. If y'all are, curious about anything about the system, and if you have any questions about it, I'll be more than happy to help you guys. And like I said, I know it's a little intimidating for some. It is definitely a pretty nasty storm. I'm not going to lie at that, but we'll get through this. It'll be all right. Just please make sure y'all take this seriously and make sure you guys are preparing for it. Once again, the biggest concern is really going to be, once again, all that water that we're going to be seeing. We are going to see some surges too. Here's the current surge map here from the Hurricane Center. We are seeing, oops, sorry, I actually hit my desk. We are seeing 1 to 3 foot of surges for the Big Island here of Hawaii. So you can see the Big Island, 1 to 3 foot. So that's going to be the water level being 1 to 3 foot higher than it typically would be. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that water kind of pushing a little bit inland. So we're going to see those water levels are much higher here overall. And of course, for everybody else, for Maui, all the way up at Honolulu, literally for everybody else here, except for the Big Island here of Hawaii, 1 to 2 foot of surges. So that water level is going to be 1 to 2 foot above that normal amount here. So surges, thankfully, aren't super duper crazy as far as the system goes. And it could be a whole lot worse, but surges are still expected here. But anyways, let's see here. Rose says mountains will cause more rain to fall. That is true. And that's actually a big reason of why we have such high amounts here of rainfall over there on, of course, Hawaii side. Because, yeah, like you said, orographic lift. That's basically, we have a lot of those winds that are ramping off of the, or a lot of that warm air ramping off of the mountain. And it's kind of forcing an updraft here, from the terrain, in which, that is going to increase convection and stuff like that and allow for heavier rain to occur. So yeah, absolutely. Great point. Yeah, that is another thing, which is really leading to such high, totals out there. And once again, isolated amounts up to 25 inches, which that's, to put in perspective, 24 inches is 2 foot. 2 foot of rain. That's crazy. That's crazy. You guys seen, for my northerners out there here in the mainland, you guys know 2 foot of snow. That's pretty good, right? Imagine that being just liquid water. Not to mention running down a mountain, piling up there on the coastal areas. So you see what I'm saying? This just really kind of puts in perspective of really what we could be seeing here with all that water. So that's my main concern. Is once again definitely all that water we're going to be seeing here with that system. So Once again, if you're just tuning in, we have hurricane warnings in effect here for the big island here of Hawaii, so that is expected. That's where we have hurricane conditions, or we are expecting hurricane conditions to occur. For all of the other islands here, we have those tropical storm warnings in effect here, but like I said, even though they're tropical storm warnings, there still is a lot of impacts expected out here. Now, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I am going to bring up the wind speeds here. This is the models. This is the HWRF model. Now, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Actually, I'm going to change this here to the HAFS A model. So let's do that now. Let's switch on over here. HAFS-A, so we can look at this particular model here. Now, as far as the winds go, like I said, this is one piece of the puzzle. This is just one of the models here overall. Rose says mudslides possible. Yes, absolutely. I mean, considering how much rain we're going to be seeing here, yeah, I mean, that's that. Let's see here. Fun fact, 1 inch of rain calculates to 10 inches of snow. I mean, depends on what ratio you use. Like a Shira ratio is 1 to 10. 1 to 10. So it's not perfectly linear. There's some other factors that play a role in it, but we're not going to get into that right now. But anyways, but yeah, so heading over here to the HAFS-A model here, you can see, I mean, that landfall is expected to be out there, you know, right there on the, right there, I mean, pretty much coming up right to the, yeah, right up to the eastern side of the big island here. Now, this is showing sustained winds, you know, of upwards of like 70 miles per hour here. I mean, right there, right around upper tropical storm, lower Cat 1 force here. Now, remember, these are wind speeds. Now, what I am going to do, I'm actually going to change these to wind gusts here, so you guys can, you know, see those wind gusts in value, that we can see how strong these wind gusts could be. So let me do this, actually. Let's head back over to point real quickly. We'll do bold. There we go, so you guys can kind of see that a little bit better. Let's see here. But yeah, you can see, I mean, here's an estimate of how strong these winds could be here with that system. These are, once again, wind gusts within the system. So as we go into 2 o'clock p.m., your guys' time here, you guys can see, I mean, there is some areas that we could be seeing some very, very strong gusts here. I mean, upwards well into 70 mile per hour territory. I mean, even 80 mile per hour territory too. I mean, we're going to be seeing some pretty strong wind gusts out there overall. So that's whenever that initial landfall is going to take place here. And then, of course, as we go into, this will be 8 o'clock p.m. On the 15th. So tomorrow evening, you can see that some of these other islands here could be really picking up some strong gusts. Out there by Honolulu at this time, you know, we could be seeing 40-ish mile per hour wind gusts here according to this model. Which those will pick up a little bit more than likely, especially as we kind of go into the morning of the 16th. That's when that system's center is going to be the closest to Honolulu, and you can see that we could be seeing some of these gusts here upwards of, you know, maybe even the 50 mile per hour territory, which, you know, that is definitely some strong gusts, you know, and seeing a lot of rainfall here at this point falling as well. That is that. I'm going to grab a sounding at this time here. Yeah, relatively saturated column too. You can see that the red line, that's our temperature line. This is a vertical representation of the atmosphere. The green is our dew point line here. The closer our dew point and our temperature is, the higher the humidity and the more moisture there really is. You know, the higher the dew point, the more moisture there is in the air. But given that we do have high dew points near saturation, that's a lot of moisture potential there. So, but anyways, but yeah, so a lot of the strongest winds will be affected for like Honolulu, or out there by Honolulu here for more of the evening of the 15th going into the 16th overall. And then, like I mentioned, as we kind of go into the morning of Monday, here for 2 o'clock in the morning on Monday, you can see that at that point, you know, the system will be mostly away from Hawaii. I mean, some of the western islands would still be getting some pretty strong winds, you know, possibly still some tropical storm force winds. But yeah, I mean, really by Monday afternoon, I mean, everything should be pretty much back to normal as far as that goes. I mean, of course, leaving the trail of mess behind it, you know, of course, with all that rain that's fallen at that point and all that stuff. So another thing I want to bring up is actually the precipitable water. Now, this kind of really shows us, I mean, pretty much in a simple term of just how much moisture we have in the air. Now, any value over really 1.5 to 2 inches is considered a lot. So put that in a perspective. You can see some areas actually go off the chart over 3 inches of PWatt. That's crazy. And what that's really telling me here is that there is going to be a absurd amount of moisture associated with that system. So, you know, like I mentioned a little bit ago, for tropical systems, you know, the biggest things that tropical systems need, of course, is a lot of moisture, which we have, not a problem at all. In fact, that's partially why we're seeing so much flooding, is because the system is very saturated. So between that and, of course, you know, those warm sea surface temperatures of at least 26 degrees Celsius and greater, which we do have all across the forecast cone. So those waters are there. And then the last thing was that wind shear that we were talking about here, which as that system does kind of go, just south of Honolulu into these waters here, there is a little bit of wind shear that is probably going to affect the storm a little bit, which could cause it to weaken temporarily before picking back up in strength as we continue down. But yeah, it doesn't look like we're really going to be seeing any like dry air infiltration or really anything like that with this system. And you can see up top here, I mean, there's definitely, more drier air, but that's not feeding directly into the storm at that point. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of, definitely a lot of moisture there with that particular system overall. So I did want to mention that here. Now, one thing I do want to talk about here is actually the spaghetti models. Now, this is taken in consideration multiple ensemble models. This is not just one set of ensembles. This is multiple sets. This is pretty much just all of the spaghettis thrown on one map. And so you can see that, I mean, there is still an overwhelming amount of support here, suggesting that we have a direct landfall here on the big island of Hawaii. In fact, like I was mentioning earlier, I'd say that this is roughly about 60%, of those mainstream mean models here, as you can see. And you can see roughly, I'd say about 40% has the system, the center of that storm just going south of the Big Island. So that's what I'd put it out right about now. I'd say it's about a 60-40. It is still likely to make that landfall in the Big Island. But like we had mentioned beforehand, I mean, even if it does go further south and say if it does go into that 40%, I mean, those impacts are not going to be that much different. There still is going to be some very, very strong impacts. The impacts would likely be maybe a little bit less for some of the upper islands here, but still, it's still going to be nasty regardless there at that point. But yeah, like I said, I do think it's more of like a 60-40 right now, 60% chance of that direct landfall, I'd say, just based off of spaghettos here, the spaghetti models that we have. So a good majority of them do support that direct landfall, though. But yeah, as we continue further down in time, you can also see that there's not a lot of support really showing that center part of the storm going up towards the other islands. So you guys are good up here from a direct landfall. It's extremely unlikely. I mean, there's really not much support showing direct landfalls for any of the other islands. So main direct landfall is going to be for the Big Island here. And then, of course, like I had mentioned, as we continue further down in time, there's a growing, uncertainty. The further you go out, of course, there's more errors in models, of course, in which, runs the next hour with errors. More errors, and of course it becomes so unstable that it just turns into a big mess. So as you can see what happens after it passes Hawaii, we're just going to gradually see that storm continue northwestward here, west-northwestward, and of course actually expected to strengthen as it's going to be in a non-sheared environment, still plenty warm enough sea surface temperatures and of course moisture. So it is going to be undergoing a strengthening trend after it passes west of Hawaii. So, and a lot of the models do, in fact, actually support that there. So I did want to mention that here overall. Now, I'll tell you what, we're going to hop back over here into the satellite imagery real quickly so I can go ahead and show y'all kind of what the storm does look like right now. I think we might have a mesofloater on here, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go to mesofloater. We'll do long wave IR. There it is. Yeah, mesofloater 2. So yeah, there's the system. The reason I use the mesofloaters is because it actually takes a photo of the storm every minute as opposed to every 10 minutes with a normal satellite scan. So we are getting, as you can see, some very high precise, very high quality satellite imagery here with this particular system. So you can definitely see, once again, some of those outer bands already starting to reach the Big Island of Hawaii. I mean, you guys are definitely already starting to feel this system already. Now, like we had mentioned a little bit ago, in terms of where the estimated tropical storm force winds are at right now, those are still just just east, of the Big Island here. So there's the Big Island. You can see, so that yellow blob that you see, this is where those estimated tropical storm force winds are at right now. So that's where we are expecting those winds to be, 39 miles per hour or greater, which tropical storm ranges, sustained wind ranges between 39 to 74 miles per hour, I believe. So that's where we expect those winds to be contained right now at this current moment within this. So you can see, I mean, it's really not far though. really not far from the eastern coast of Hawaii. So you guys are getting a lot closer to the tropical storm force winds. I'm sure that the winds are starting to pick up out there by the coastal areas. I'm definitely sure of. So, but yeah, I tell you what, I am going to bring up the guidance here, the current observations here. I'll go ahead and bring up the surface plots here. Now, I will bring up the. Let's see here. We'll just bring up the wind gusts here. I'm just curious to kind of see. So this is based off of the latest observations here. Now, I don't know if I buy this because there is quite a few stations that is showing. Look at that. Well, I'll tell you what. This one is gusting up to 84 mile per hour winds here. Can I grab this edge? Okay, we can do this. Let's see. Wind direction, wind speed. So here's wind speed. Okay. That honestly does look pretty legit. I'm not going to lie with you. We do see some gusts here in this case, upwards to 63 miles per hour. That definitely seems pretty legit. Let's try the eastern side here of that station. Looks like we had some gusts up to, nearly 70 miles per hour, then a big dip deck down to 35. Kind of on and off right now. Looks like we're gusting upward to 49. So, yeah. I think this might be legit, actually. Yeah, I think we are seeing some pretty strong winds there. Yeah, gusts on this one's not as high, or wind speeds on this one's not as high. Oh, sorry, these are gusts over here. Oh, wait a minute. So, yeah, I might need to go back here to this guy here. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's saying gusts of 102 miles an hour. No, that don't line up. I think there's something fishy going on with that. This one shows 97 here. I wonder what's going on here. Yeah, 103 mile per hour wind gusts here, just slightly east of Honolulu. Yeah, I don't know about that. I think there's something wrong with those stations there. Let me try ASOS maybe. Yeah, these ASOS stations. Okay, that's why it's RAWs. Okay, we'll go ASOS because ASOS are the ones that we should really monitor here. These are the good ones. Yeah, ASOS. Let's see, pressure. Pressure's definitely dropping quite a bit. It's to be expected. Winds are upwards of, let's see, gusting 30. See, that, or wind speed sustained at 30, gusting upwards to 40. Now, that is more reasonable. Yeah, that's definitely more reasonable. So we'll, obviously when we do coverage, we're going to be really monitoring a lot of these weather stations and stuff like that. So we're going to really see that. But no, yeah, pressure is obviously dropping from earlier at 1,014 millibars now down to 1,012. Now, we do have the hurricane hunters out right now. We can't forget about that. Let me check on flight radar real quickly. Let me reload this. Let's see. Because, yeah, we do have NOAA out there. There's Teal, Dallas. Let's see. Where are they? They're going to be somewhere. Southwest Airlines. That's not them, obviously. I don't think hurricane hunters fly Southwest. What is Teal 77? What is that? Oh, there they are. That's them. Yep. So that's the hurricane hunters right there. So we actually have a live view of where they are. If only we had a live view of what they were reading. That would be pretty cool. I might be able to turn on... Oh, wait, never mind. That's a paid feature to turn on the radar. That's kind of stupid. Anyways, but yeah, they are heading out there to that storm right now. I can bring up the latest Hurricane Hunter data here through this portal here. If we go to Recon, if we hop over to Lala, yeah, Air Force 302. It says all these are active, but yeah, not all these are active right now. Okay, this is a little bit behind, actually. Yeah, this is a pretty good little bit behind. But yeah, as far as the data coming through, yeah, we do got some data. Mean sea level pressure that says estimated 1,009 millibars. Peak winds 33 knots. Flight level pressure 569. Yeah, so we're going to continue to watch that there. We'll see how that goes as they fly closer. But yeah, I mean, comparing on flight radar where they're at, you can see they're right here. They're obviously, just southeast of the Big Island. Comparing to the data that we have officially from NOAA, you can see that they're a little bit behind. They're a little bit behind. So we'll just peek on flight radar too, and we'll every once in a while we'll just kind of see where they're at and what they're doing essentially. Anyways. But yeah, let's hop on back over here, y'all. We're going to hop back to the cone. Go ahead and show you guys the latest cone that we do have here with this system. So this is the latest advisory issued by the National Hurricane Center. So Like I mentioned, at the current moment, the storm is a tropical storm, of course. We are currently sustaining 65 mile per hour winds. So this is constant winds of 65 miles per hour right now. We are seeing some gusts up to 75 miles per hour here, in which we are seeing the system, it doesn't really say, but the system is moving west northwestward here. I think it was 11 miles per hour. It was either 11 or 13. Let me make sure. Let's see. 12. Okay, right in the middle. Yeah, so west northwest at 12 miles per hour here. That's how fast that storm is moving here right now. So yeah, as we approach the point of landfall here, that's going to be here right around 2 o'clock Hawaiian Standard Time, HST, in which we are seeing sustained winds here, so constant winds of 75 miles per hour. So that officially makes it a Category 1 hurricane at that point, and we are going to be seeing some higher gusts, potentially up to 90 miles per hour. So in addition, sustained winds of 75 in some of the core parts of the storm, with wind gusts. So peak winds could get up to 90 miles per hour at that point. So that'll be right around 2 o'clock p.m. for you guys. I'm a little bit more thankful, of course, that the landfall is going to be taking place more during the daytime hours as opposed to nighttime. I mean, there is going to be some parts of this system where we are going to be going through it at nighttime. Especially as we go just south of Honolulu here, you can see this is 8 a.m. Eastern. This will be 2 o'clock a.m. your guys' time here for the 16th. So it's not just the 15th, for tomorrow we need to look out for the 16th too. And I'm probably going to have to break this up into multiple coverages as far as, the system goes. But yeah, we are seeing, once again, 70... once it passes through the Big Island of Hawaii, according to the Hurricane Center, sustaining 70. Now, I'm not too sure on that. Like I mentioned, it really depends where it makes landfall. I mean, if it goes directly over the Big Island, it's going to be probably weaker than that. Let's be real. If it does go under the island, I mean, there's a good chance it could hold maybe a little bit of its strength, but it is expected to kind of battle some wind shear once we kind of go in just south of the western islands here of Hawaii. So that should allow it to remain fairly weak before picking back up into hurricane strength, right around the 18th here for the afternoon hours, HST. So anyways, let's see. In Volcano here, I just had a really strong gust come through, raining pretty steadily. Well, stay safe out there, friend. Yeah, I do see that rain. If we do hop over to, let's see here. Let's see, what radars do we have? So if we hop over to your closest radar, yeah, we do definitely have some of those bands starting to work through here. So there's the current radar view. You can definitely see there's more of the middle bands here of the storm. You can see. I mean, that central low, I think is that it right there? You know what? That right there might be that central low. Yeah. That's pretty darn close to it. But yeah, there's the central low. So this is kind of the middle bands. These are kind of the inner bands here. The radar is barely able to scan all the way that far. But yeah, you can definitely see, I mean, those bands are starting to approach y'all. I mean, so that heavy rain is already starting to occur here. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to bring up our velocity. Let's see. So we're scanning at, let me try getting fairly close to the radar here. Let's see. This is scanning at 500 feet. And according to that, our radar is estimating anywhere from 30 to 40 mile per hour winds at 500 feet above radar. So that is pretty strong. I mean, getting closer to tropical storm force, of course. That's once again 500 feet up, estimating 30, 40 mile per hour winds. So 39 or greater is what puts that into tropical storm force here. Now that's just based off of the velocity product, of course. That's something you should take with a grain of salt. More estimated than anything, but we'll just keep an eye on those ASOS stations there, and we'll just monitor them, of course, as we go down in time here. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to let us know. And if you guys haven't already, consider subscribing. Do me a favor, hit that like button as well. And if you guys know anybody in Hawaii, any friends, family there, if you guys want to share this channel to them, that way that they can stay up to date as well, it would be much appreciated. I'm sure they'd appreciate it as well. That way, everybody can stay up to date with this system and all. But so yeah, looking at this yellow blob here. So this is where we are currently seeing those estimated tropical storm force winds here. So that 39 to that 74 mile per hour winds. Well, in this case, since it's currently currently sustaining 65. So 39 to 65 mile per hour sustained winds are estimated to be here in this yellow blob that we are seeing here. In which, yeah, as of the 5 o'clock p.m. HST advisory. Now, this was a little bit ago. I think current time here, you guys are 6 hours behind me, so current time is 6:58, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. In which this is about 2 hours ago. Yeah, that graphic is about 2 hours old. So it honestly is pretty reasonable to assume at this point that those tropical storm force winds are starting to touch some of the eastern tip here of the Big Island of Hawaii. So at that point, I would say it's definitely quite possible. Now, for the Big Island of Hawaii, you might have noticed the red here. Once again, that means that we have hurricane warnings in effect. Of course, we are expecting hurricane conditions to occur out there. Here across the blue, which includes the rest of the islands, including like Honolulu, of course, Maui, all of these areas here. These are tropical storm warnings, where tropical storm conditions is expected to occur here. So I think my alarm's getting ready to go off for my stuff here. Hold on one second. Let me go ahead and actually mute this alarm real quickly. I do apologize for that. But yeah, so like I mentioned, yeah, the blue there, that is the tropical storm force winds. Oops, actually hit my screenshot button. That's where the tropical storm force conditions, not winds, sorry. Tropical storm conditions are here in the blue, and of course hurricane conditions here in the red overall. Anyways, all right, let's hop back over to Sat View. We're going to switch back to GOES West Mesoscale Floater 2. Now, I do actually want to bring up GeoColor now. I'm curious to see kind of what GeoColor shows us here. Okay, yeah, it is at this point. Well, hold on a minute. Actually, no, this is a little bit behind. Okay, we're going to give this a second to load. While we do so, I will go over the rainfall here with you guys because, yeah, that's kind of where the biggest concern is with the system. What's up, Big Island? Good to see you. Saying aloha from Big Island, Fern Forest, Hawaii. See here, just east of Volcano. Well, stay safe out there, friend. Yeah, you're definitely going to be dealing with some pretty heavy impacts here with this system. Going over the rain here now. I mean, for a lot of the eastern side of the Big Island, we are going to be seeing isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rain. Now, there is potentially over 2 foot of rain possible. Across the dark red, we are seeing the range of 16 to 20 inches of rainfall. Of course, the more brighter red, this is that 12 to 16 inch margin. The orange, this is 8 to 12. And you can see this includes bits of like East Maui here, as well. So we do have a bit of flooding expected out there too. For the darker yellow, this is 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. The yellow itself, 4 to 6 inches. The dark green, 2 to 4, and of course the light green here, 1 to 2. Now they did say isolated amounts elsewhere, including like Honolulu. You guys are going to be involved here in potential isolated amounts. So some localized spots could be higher, up to 8 inches in diameter out there. So yeah, I mean, we are going to be seeing, a pretty good amount of flooding. For a majority of Hawaii, of course, but some of the heaviest effects are really going to be here for the eastern side of the Big Island, of course. Let's see here. We had some bands of rain and some 40-ish gusts. Yeah, I definitely seen that. On the radar and all. Oh yeah, there you go. There's the satellite imagery here. Okay, so yeah, this is up to date. Here you go. So it looks like you all just had your sunset here not too long ago. Oh, there we go. That's a good view of the storm. You could definitely see it's heading that way. It is definitely heading that way. It's getting a lot closer. You can really see some pretty good convective plumes up here. For some of these older scans there, or some of these older frames. Here, let me go and pause that there. Yeah, you can see some of those deep convective plumes there, and that's what the storm needs to really kind of pick up strength. We need that deep convection there. But yeah, there's the current view. It looks like the sun just went down for you guys here. So yeah, once the sun comes back up, we're going to start feeling those impacts pretty good. Like I mentioned, the heaviest of the impacts is going to be felt right around 2 o'clock p.m. That's when we're expecting the landfall, HST. But as far as like the current radar and all goes here, I'm going to go and open up another panel for you guys. And we're going to load up our radar here too. So we'll go ahead and get that going for you. But but as far as like, let's see, I'm on the wrong tab here. Here we go. So if we go to radar, switch on over here. Yeah, if we go to PHWA, yeah, you can definitely see some of those bands starting to work inland there. And it definitely does look like we are seeing a pretty decent amount of moderate rainfall and all that stuff. So, but Big Island, you please stay safe out there, friend. Of course, everybody who's in watching this right now, to all my Hawaii friends out there, you guys please stay safe. And if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in chat. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. And like I said, the main thing, I just want to keep you all up to date. I want to keep you guys safe here with this system. I've always liked tracking weather, and I'm gonna do this regardless. This is why I do it on stream. It's just because I want to help you guys out and just want to be here for y'all to just to track the storm with. Because, like I said, if I do it on my own, might as well put the knowledge to use and help other people out too. So that's really the main reason why I'm here. I just really enjoy helping you guys out as far as these systems, but yeah, like I said, I try to get to every comment here, and if you guys have any comments, any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I am more than happy to help you guys. I'm more than happy to help y'all. So, anyways, hopping back over here. So we just looked at the flooding here a minute ago, but I do want to pull up the surges once again. I mean, surges are going to be a bit of a concern. We do have 1 to 3 foot of storm surge here across the Big Island of Hawaii here. Now, basically elsewhere, all the other islands, we are seeing surges of 1 to 2 foot above normal. So 1 to 3 foot here for the Big Island, basically saying that, that water level here is going to be 1 to 3 foot higher than it typically is because of all those winds kind of pushing in that water into the coastal areas, which is going to allow for some swelling to occur. Not to mention, also, with the heavy rain we were just talking about here too, we're going to have a lot of water involved, salt water and fresh water, mainly fresh water, of course. Thankfully, these surges are not super duper crazy per se. I mean, they're not super high numbers, but they are still a potential out there overall. So anyways, let's see here. Put a picture in Discord for you. All right, let me go and pull this up here. Oh yeah, I do see that here. Do you care if I share that to the stream, or do you not want me to? I mean, either or, it's fine. But if you guys want to check it out, you guys can join our Discord here too. It should be in the description. You guys can check it out and see. But anyways, feel free to share. Sorry, I literally just seen that. Okay, there we go. So there's on my phone. That is the picture they just sent here. And I know you can hardly see it, but it looks like that's where the sun was setting there. The pink skies. There is some rain on the window there. So yeah, we're definitely starting to see those bands out there, as we've already seen there on the radar and all. I mean, it's starting to get there. I mean, it's approaching. You said that you've seen about like 40 mile per hour gusts out there, which that lines up pretty well, actually. That does line up pretty well. We actually peaked at velocity a minute ago too, which we'll go ahead and do again here. So if we hop back over to velocity, remember, this is just a way to estimate how strong the winds are at a given level. So, we can't be approximate with this, okay? So just a little bit of a disclaimer looking at this, but this shows 2.2K feet. So this is 2,200 feet here, high up. And we are seeing maybe 40, 50 mile per hour winds here. But remember, this is 2,000 feet up. This is not the surface. If we go back a little bit in time, back where we had this shower that was pretty close to the radar site, it is scanning a little bit lower, of course. In this case, we are scanning about 200, 300, 400 feet, in which we are seeing about 30, 40 mile per hour winds. Tropical storm force winds against 39 or greater, up to 74, of course. And this right here is mainly subtropical storm force sustained winds. Now, there is probably some higher gusts within this, of course, that it could be picking up. But, like we mentioned, that's just a rough estimate here. And that is a couple hundred feet up there, too. So remember that. Anywho, but yeah, that is what we are seeing here. I mean, as far as that. What can we expect on Honolulu in terms of flooding / safety? I got you, friend. So yeah, as far as the flooding threat goes, I mean, the biggest concern's going to be for the Big Island, but Honolulu is under a bit of a concern. We are expecting about 4 to 6 inches of rain out there, but they did mention here that we are going to be seeing the possibility of isolated amounts up to 8 inches in Honolulu. So we do got to look out for that possible amount of a little bit higher. Now, as far as the surges go, out there by Honolulu, we're going to be seeing about 1 to 2 foot above normal. So once again, 1 to 2 foot storm surge means that the water is going to be 1 to 2 foot above normal threshold, and that's going to be a result of the winds pushing that water inland from the storm here. So that will allow for the swelling to occur and for the water level to rise about 1 to 2 feet. So, like I mentioned, with an addition to the heavy rain that we're talking about here, the fresh water running down the slopes and stuff like that, running down into the lower elevations, that'll flooding it is a pretty moderate to severe concern for Honolulu, I will say, but it is an exceptional concern for the Big Island, especially the eastern side. I mean, That's where the biggest concern by far is 100% going to be here on that system there. So, all right, let's tune in with the Hurricane Hunters. Let's see what they're doing out there. We're going to switch on over here. Actually, we're just going to add them up here. So let's switch over to Lala. We're going to pull up to AF302. So there they are. So there's the latest scan. They are actually getting pretty close to the center. In fact, they might already be in the center here. Let me pull up Flight Radar again. Yep, so they are. They're in the storm right now. So yep, they're at 10,000 feet, which that's typical. That's Hurricane Hunter altitude. That is typical Hurricane Hunter altitude. Is 10,000 feet here. So that is the WC-130J, the weather bird. Yeah, they see it there. Yeah, so that is basically the C-130 equivalent of a weather station. Basically, it is basically a C-130 chassis with weather equipment. So it's a WC-130J. So instead of an AC-130J. Just to a little bit of our plane nerds out there. But anyways, yeah, right now, the latest guidance that we do have, it looks like that pressure's down to 1,004 millibars. Yep, 1,004.1 millibars here. Flight level is, 696 millibars there. So, let's see here. Our realtor told us we live on the rainiest spot on Earth in Fern Forest. We get about 300 plus inches of rain per year. Wow, that's crazy. That is really, really crazy. I mean, yeah, shoot, Florida, where I live here in Central Florida. I mean, we get a heck of a lot of rain here too. You know, during our rainy season, especially like we're in rainy season now here. But yeah, even Florida doesn't get numbers like that. Florida gets, I think, like 150 to 200 something inches per year or something like that. It's been a while since I heard those numbers, but yeah, I mean, we don't get even into that. And Florida's known as it's known as the Sunshine State, but let's be real, 2 to 4 p.m. in Florida, I mean, it's the rainy state. So anyways, but yeah, so that's what we got going on here. Now, I do want to bring up the spaghetti again for you guys here. So this is based off the latest guidance that we have here. So this is just a bunch of models, a bunch of ensembles here. You know, from different models, just all smashed together into one particular image here. So, as you can see, I mean, like we talked about a little bit ago, I mean, there is a lot of support. And like we had mentioned, I'd say at least 60% of the support here, of the system making a direct landfall on the Big Island here. Now, you can see that there is, I'd say about maybe 40%. Actually, I drew that out a little bit too far because that's where it really starts to diverge. Yeah, right in here. Honestly, maybe even less than 40%. Maybe it's a 30-70. Anyways, yeah, I'd say about 70% of the latest ensemble shows a direct landfall over the Big Island of Hawaii. While about 30%, anywhere from 40 to 30%, I'd say, shows just the center going south of the island. But like we mentioned, I mean, once again, even if it does make that southern approach, even if it does go the center goes slightly under the main island here, or the Big Island here, even if it does, there is still going to be a lot of impacts out there. That's to be expected. So, you know, even if it does do that, it doesn't mean we're out of the woods, unfortunately. I mean, at this point, it is certain that all of Hawaii is going to be having some pretty nasty impacts here with this system here overall. So, but anyways, all right, so that's what we got going on there. Let's head on back over here. So yeah, they are currently flying into the storm right now. I think they should be right there in the center. Now, there's no eye of the storm yet, but they are near the center, I'm sure. Let me bring up this real quickly. Oh, yeah, this hasn't updated in a hot minute. Yeah, the AF302 hasn't updated on Tropical Tidbits in quite a little bit. Yeah, they had a couple other missions they did earlier. NOAA 2 went out. So there's NOAA Hurricane Hunters and there's Air Force Hurricane Hunters. So NOAA Hurricane Hunters have like the, the P3 Orion. And then the Hurricane Hunters have the WC-130J. And the ones that are in the storm right now is the Air Force Hurricane Hunters and the WC-130J. But yeah, we did have the NOAA 2 plane fly. I think did Miss Piggy fly? Because yeah, actually Miss Piggy is stationed in Lakeland. You know what? They might have. There's another one too. I think they have Miss Piggy and they have. Do they have a Kermit? I think they have a Kermit. They might keep that one out west. I'm not too sure honestly anymore. But anyways, but they already flew back to the islands here. But But yeah, we have the Air Force mission. They're currently in the storm right now, so that's something we'll just monitor here. Anyways. But once again, everybody, if you're new here, first of all, welcome. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate y'all being here. And like I mentioned, I'm sorry you guys got to go through this. It sucks. I mean, I live in Florida. I get some storms like this every once in a while too. Sometimes they're not very fun. So my prayers will be with you guys. Prayers will definitely be with y'all. And like I said, I'm going to do everything on my part I can to help you guys out. I mean, we've been doing a lot of videos, a lot of streams the last several days. I'm going to cover the live, the heaviest part of the storm. I'm going to be live for it. Yeah, like I said, my prayers will be up for you guys. I want to make sure to keep you guys in them. And, like I said, if you guys have any questions on the stream, do not hesitate to ask. I'm definitely more than happy to help here. And like I said, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here, is so that you guys can ask questions and I can answer questions to my best ability and just keep you guys in the loop with everything. Absolutely. I'm going to bring up the satellite imagery here real quickly. So this is, once again, the geo color that we have. So this is the current satellite imagery of the system. There's the big island, of course. Honolulu's over here. So it's a coming. It's working its way here. Let's see, ground is dry in less than 1 hour. Oh, wow. Outer elevation, gotcha. See, thanks, we need them. Of course, friend. I got you. Like I said, I'm going to be here for y'all. But I'm going to go ahead and go over, I've already done this earlier, I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the things that you guys need to have. In case, you're not fully prepared yet, make sure that you guys get prepared by tonight, honestly. If not by tonight, at very latest, tomorrow morning, early. Because we've had multiple times to... we've had multiple days to prepare for the system at this point, and we're coming down to the wire now. And we're getting to the point where the system is right up on you guys. I mean, you can see just how close it is right now. Like, right here is where the system is currently. And, I mean, it's getting closer. It's getting a lot closer. But what I want you guys to do, make sure, obviously, the main thing is food and water. Non-perishable food, stuff that will not go bad if the power goes out. Because, let's be real, power is likely going to go out for a lot of people here. So having non-perishable food, like canned goods and stuff like that, is the way to go. So be sure you do that. Even some snacks that are non-refrigerated, you can have those too, of course. Just non-perishable stuff that will not go bad. Another thing, of course, is water. At least have food and water to last you a couple of weeks here, what I'd say, just to be safe. So on top of that, we recommend that you guys have flashlights, extra batteries here, of course, too. Make sure you have your medicines all together. Make sure your medicines are, good to go. Not to mention important documents. Put them in a bag if you can, because, of course, with all the water that's going to be involved here with this system, we're definitely going to need you guys to have your important documents here with you as well. So get all those together if you can tonight, if you haven't already. Another thing, first aid kit. Have a first aid kit available. That's definitely a good thing to have. One other big thing is having cash on hand, because having cash on hand, it will be good for electronicless transactions. Because if you need to buy something, you have cash on hand and stuff like that, which, if there's going to be a lot of power outages, the electronic transactions might be a little bit difficult. So that's why I would heavily recommend having some cash. So if you can, go to the bank and get some cash. It's optional, but it is recommended. It is definitely recommended. Last things, make sure you have plenty enough gas for them if you have a generator. Make sure your car has enough gas in it. If your oil hasn't been changed in your generator recently, I would suggest doing so. It's just depends on your scenario, of course. If it's been sitting around for years and years and years, even if the oil hasn't been really used, I would still change the oil. But if it's been constantly ran for a while and it needs one, I'd go ahead and do it just to be safe. But if you recently did it, then don't worry about it. Just make sure you have enough gas. That's really the main stuff. That's the big stuff, what I would definitely recommend here. So let's see here. Should we board up windows in Ocean View at 4,000 feet? Let me pull up Ocean View real quickly. That way I kind of know where we're talking about, because it would definitely be good if I knew what we're talking about. Ocean View. Let's see, Hawaii. Do you have a zip code for that, friend? Yeah. Yeah, see, it just brings me to... you can't see that, but it just brings me to the state of Hawaii. If I just click on it, it just brings me to Honolulu for some reason. But if you have a zip code, Boss Axe, if you do, then I would recommend just throwing it down in the chat if you can. That way I can do that. Let's see here. We're boarded up. Fern Forest here. Gotcha. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it out there. You said you're east of Volcano, right? So you're over here. Yeah, there's fern forest. Yeah, you guys are unfortunately probably going to be in some of the heaviest of the flooding and stuff like that with the system. Like if we hop back over to the hurricane center and all, back to the rainfall potential. I mean, you're in that area there actually where we do have up to 25 inches locally being possible. So it's a tropical storm right now it is, but it is going to be a Category 1 at landfall here. All right, thanks for the zip code, friend. Let me go and pull this up for you. Let's see kind of where you're at here. All right, so you're okay, gotcha. You're on the southern side of there. So you're at 4,000 feet. I would recommend. I mean, I would say it's not a bad idea. I'm gonna leave that choice up to you, but just know that landfall could be directly over you. It is a possibility. Like if I bring up our spaghetti models again, and I'll show you kind of where the models are suggesting this. There is a lot of support that shows that system going directly over you. In fact, you're kind of in the middle of the guidance here. You can see that the most probable landfall has it going right over the southern tip of the Big Island. So, I mean, we're expecting winds to be gusting up to 90 miles per hour. Of course, you being up in those higher elevations there too. If it was me, I wouldn't say it's a bad idea. I would say it's probably a good idea that you did, just to be safe, because those winds are going to be allowing for some branches and stuff like that to go flying too, considering the winds and all. If it was me, I would. Just to play it safe. Just to play it safe here. As far as rain goes for your area, it varies very, very much. As you can see here for like the eastern southern tip of the Big Island. We have 12 to 16 inches of rain expected. And for the kind of the western tip here, we are seeing, about 4 to 6 inches. So it's kind of a big difference there, but your buddy lives on the Big Island. Gotcha. How many hours before the tropical storm winds arrive? Here pretty darn soon, if not already. Yeah, because if we actually bring up here, let's bring this up now. If we head on over to the cone here, the current cone and the interactive thing that we have here, if we take a look at this blob, this is where those estimated tropical storm force winds are as of 5 p.m. your guys' time. Now, right now, the current time, I believe, is... Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it 7:20 for you guys? I think it's 7:20 p.m. for you guys. So this is almost 2.5 hours old, and you could see just how close those estimated tropical storm force winds are. I'd say it's a safe bet to say that some of those tropical storm force winds are probably already starting to be kicking up here. Not to mention, who was it a minute ago that said it was a Big Island that said that they had 40? I think it was Big Island that said that they had about 40 mile per hour wind gusts. So it's getting close. It is getting close. Yeah, those winds are starting to pick up out there from what it looks like, and all that stuff. But yeah, that yellow blob, once again, that's where we estimate those tropical storm force winds to be right now. Now, as far as the warnings and stuff go, we'll go ahead and go over this. We haven't been over it in a minute. But, yeah, for the Big Island of Hawaii here, we do have, so this red area here. So this is where we do have those hurricane warnings in effect here. So this is where we are expecting hurricane impacts here. So just a bit of a heads up there. So we are expecting hurricane conditions to occur. Across the blue, this is where we have those tropical storm warnings here. So this is where we are expecting tropical storm conditions to occur out there. So, like I mentioned, even for the tropical storm areas here, definitely still need to be prepared, because I mean there's still going to be some strong winds, and of course the biggest concern, flooding and stuff like that. So that we got to look out for. And a little bit of surges and everything like that will be all right. So let's see here. Still a little mild. Gotcha. Well, yeah, like I said, the worst is still yet to come. We expect that landfall, or that nearest point to the Big Island, to be right around 2 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. Which is going to be 2 o'clock your guys' time. So for me, this would be 8, because I'm in Eastern time. I live in Florida here, so I'm in the East Coast U.S. Mainland. So it's 8 o'clock. So you guys are 6 hours behind me. Isn't that crazy that I'm streaming this information 6 time zones to you guys' east? I think that's pretty crazy, anyways. But yeah, you guys are 6 hours behind me. So it'll be 8 o'clock for me. So I'll be streaming when the sun's going down, while you guys are streaming midday. So, or not streaming. You guys aren't going to be streaming while you guys are going through this midday, is what I should say. But anyways, yeah, we are expecting it right around 2 o'clock p.m. Now, as we pop into 2 a.m. on Sunday here, this is for the 16th. that's when we're going to have the system closest to Honolulu, in which those tropical storm conditions are going to be like in full effect at that point here. So we're going to be really dealing with some strong winds, of course, the flooding, stuff like that at that point too. As we go into 2 p.m. on Sunday, the storm will be the closest to the western islands here. Of course, the big island at this point really calming down, if not completely calmed down at that point. Now, one thing I will tell you is that those waters are probably going to be rough for a little bit, because, I mean, yeah, these systems really roughen up the waters. So that's another thing that I wanted to talk about here is, the surges that we talked about a little bit ago. But in addition to like the coastal concerns with surges and all, another big concern is going to be those rip currents. Like I said, I know a lot of you guys love to surf and stuff like that, which is awesome. But I would not recommend doing it in a storm like this, simply because there is a huge rip current concern with this system. So I would avoid against it, because you don't want to risk your life doing this, of course, or going surfing whenever there is a big rip current concern here. So if you can, don't do that. But if you do catch yourself, say, in a rip current, remember not to swim directly back to shore. Swim somewhat parallel to shore, and swim with the current. Not against it, because you'll wear yourself out quickly. So go against it if you can. Or sorry, not against it. Go parallel to it, essentially. Parallel to the coast there. Anyways, let's see. Why did I think you were from Florida? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people surfing. Absolutely. Oh, you got some good surf on later this weekend. Yeah, I'm just worried about you guys as far as rip currents and all go. Because, I mean, even the best of swimmers have a hard time getting out of rip currents, So, that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about. No one surfing in the hurricane. You'd be surprised. You would be very surprised. I'm sure there's a lot of people actually surfing in it, because of the big waves and all, Wouldn't recommend it. Definitely not here. But anyways. All right, so let's head back over here, y'all. We're going to take a look back at the radar view. So once again, we are starting to see some of those bands here. Let's see here. So that is... we're starting to see those impacts. The rain's already starting out here. Once again, this area, for the eastern part of the Big Island, we are expecting some of the heaviest amounts of rain. Once again, up to 25 inches. That's according to the Weather Prediction Center here that we do have. So if we go back to our rainfall potential here from the WPC, once again, they have isolated amounts up to 25, up to 25 inches, which is definitely... definitely pretty nasty. Up to 2 foot of, sorry, not surge. That'd be crazy. Or that wouldn't be very crazy. We are expecting 1 to 3 foot. I don't know. For some reason, my brain thought I was thinking 20 feet surge. That would be pretty crazy. I said 2 feet, and then I said that's pretty crazy. No, 2 feet surge isn't the end of the world. I mean, it can cause problems, but anyways, 2 feet of rain. 2 foot of rain is expected, or is possible, isolated here for the eastern sides of the Big Island here. So, then, of course, across the dark red, once again, 16 to 20 inches of rain's expected. The bright red, the normal red here, 12 to 16 inches. The orange, 8 to 12. Now, this does include areas like East Maui. We are inside of that 8 to 12 inch margin. And a lot of the central portion of the Big Island, of course. 6 to 8 across the dark yellow, 4 to 6 across the yellow, which that includes a lot of the other islands here, too, including like Honolulu. You guys are actually inside of that 4 to 6 inch margin. Now, they did mention that we could have isolated amounts here up to 8 inches. So, yeah, that's definitely still a lot of rainfall overall. So, so I'll try to stay on and let you know any changes. All right, sounds good, friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. And like I said, y'all, my prayers are gonna be with you. Y'all, please be careful. Y'all, please be careful out there. So, let's see here. What about Pahala? Let me pull this up for you, friend. Let's see. You gave me a zip code. Thank you for that, by the way. Yeah, the zip codes really help kind of narrow it down here. Okay, yeah, you're actually right near the radar site. So you're in the area where we're probably going to see some of the strongest winds. because that's kind of where the center of the storm, the core of the hurricane is expected to impact. Of course, if I bring back up the cone here for you guys here, the cone, there's still a bit of uncertainty, of course, in where the center could go. But you can see that, we have that center of the storm could go a little bit higher up north of you. It could go a little bit further south of you. But the median, the middle ground, has it going right there near you. So you're probably going to see some pretty strong winds here with this system, for one. As far as the flooding and all goes, we are in that 12 to 16-inch margin here as far as rainfall goes. Locally higher amounts definitely possible. Surges, as far as surges go, we do have more of a mild surge concern as comparing to, like, say, a crazy hurricane or whatever. But like I mentioned, flooding is going to be a big problem anyway. So, but surges in this case is still a concern. It's still there, but on the lower side. For the Big Island, we're seeing 1 to 3 foot of surge, which, like I mentioned, is still a bit of a concern, of course. And that is where we have that water level 1 to 3 foot above its normal height. So that's because all that water that's being pushed inland because of the strong winds, the storm's literally pushing that water against the coastal areas. It's causing that water level to rise and some swelling to occur. So yeah, 1 to 3 foot above normal here. And then for everybody else, like we had mentioned, 1 to 2 foot of storm surge out there. So where is the storm surge going to be the biggest issue? For the Big Island of Hawaii. Yeah, 1 to 3 foot out there. Let's see, about a 5,000 watt hour generator. Wow, that's a pretty decent generator. See, we are at 1,500 foot elevation. Should be work. Let me pull up your zip code, friend. Let me see what we got going on for you. Or actually, you know what? I just pulled up your zip code area. Okay, never mind. Yeah, it's definitely good that you have a generator, because I do expect, definitely a lot of power outages here with that system. And given that it's going to be the strongest and you're going to be in kind of that strongest area, there is a really good shot that we're probably going to have some power outages here overall. Let me see here. Oh my goodness! No way! I have a donation from Venmo for $5 coming in from David H. Thank you so much, saying thank you for the tropical weather coverage, you rock. That is really, really sweet of you, friend. Oh my goodness, thank you so much, friend. That is super nice of you. That, you know what, that helps me out a lot. That helps me out a long ways, help allow me to keep you guys up to date with everything. So seriously, thank you so much, friend. That was super nice of you guys, or you, my friend. So thank you, everybody who has supported us once again. Y'all don't have to, but I really do appreciate it, and it helps out a long way. So thank you so much, friend. Really, really sweet of you. Let's see here. Bottle generator got 30 gallons, water and food, propane. Good. Yeah, propane. Having a propane stove is a good thing. Just don't cook inside, please. Yeah, not good to cook propane inside. And if you have like a garage or something, that would probably be the best place to cook. But yeah, just don't cook inside with, well, tell you what, now that I think about it, there's propane stoves. Okay, no, you're good. You're good. I don't know why I got a little bit weirded out. I was thinking of like charcoal or something. Sorry about that. But no, you should be good. I don't know. I think that is definitely a good thing to have, though, is a stove. But like I said, though, there is going to be, having those non-perishable foods is going to be the most important thing here. So anyways, let's see here. Thanks, Big Island. Let's see, I've been here 8 years. Must have been worried. Well, stay safe out there, friend. Stay safe. Let's see here. Bloomer, thanks for the Uncle Alert, friend. I appreciate you. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Much love to y'all. But anyways, y'all, let's hop on back over here. I do want to bring back up our satellite imagery. I do want to pull up, let's see, we'll do GOES West Mesoscale Floater 2, but I do want to bring up our simple water vapor scan here. This will kind of show us, where the saturated air is. You can see there's actually a little bit of dry air right in here. Now, the forecast, the models don't really show that affecting anything. This dry air shouldn't really do anything because, this is a very saturated system, and there is a lot of moisture in this system overall. And, because of the fact, we're definitely going to be, we're definitely going to be having a lot of rain from this system because of that, especially there in that core. Once that core, the middle part of the storm gets right up there towards the Big Island of Hawaii, at that point, that is when we're going to be really dealing with some of the heaviest flooding. We're going to see multiple inches per hour rainfall rates and stuff like that with those bands. So, it's going to be pretty heavy. Let's see here. Raymond says, let's see, I think break up pretty quick. Yeah, I mean, it could break up a bit if it passes directly over the Big Island. You know, that would be, I mean, not good for, of course, people in the Big Island, but, you know, for everybody else, it might be a little bit better of a scenario. Regardless, the rain's still going to be there, even if that wind field has been disrupted and stuff like that. You know, like you said, the rain's still going to be there. You know, if the center manages to barely scrape by, just going south of the Big Island, I mean, it could hold some of its strength, and which could be a little bit worse for you guys. Or if it goes like directly over the Big Island, which is, I'd say it's most likely scenario, is that at least somewhere on the southern side, probably of the Big Island of Hawaii, is where it's going to make that landfall. At that point, you know, I would say that what is it here? I would definitely say that we're probably going to have some of the. You ever have those moments where where you're thinking about what you're going to say and then you forget what you're going to say? That's me right now. I had it planned out in my head and then my brain got scrambled and then now I don't remember what I was going to say. But anyways, bottom line though, as we do get closer, yeah. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Yeah, if it goes directly over the island, it will have a better chance of weakening, and it will likely be less organized as if it goes further south here. There we go. Had a moment there. Let's see here. When's that second band due in Fern Force? I can bring up the future models here for you. We'll bring up the HWRF. Now, this is a singular model. This is one piece of the puzzle, like I always say. So just a bit of a heads up there. But according to the... Oh, this is behind, actually. Hold on. Let me go to the latest. Oh, you know what? Yes, this is behind. Hold on. I can fix this. HWRF will go Lala here. So that should be up to date now. There we go. Because it was still on 01C here. So it was still out of that. So according to the HWRF, it shows 2 a.m. you getting one of the big bands here. Now, remember, take this with a grain of salt. This is one particular model, one run, and all that stuff. But it does show that happening. Yeah, 2 p.m., it looks like that's the point of landfall here for the HWRF. I mean, yeah, it looks like a lot of that rain. Oh, shoot, that's just going to go straight through like all the main islands here. I mean, if the HWRF plays out, there's going to be a lot of rain for everybody. Absolutely. And this is one of the models that actually has it going maybe a little bit further upwards, towards like the eastern central side of the Big Island here. So, I mean, here, let me pull up the current radar here for you. Let me see where we're at right now. It's kind of hard to say. It is kind of hard to say. And actually, you can kind of see here. I mean, we're getting some of the rain out there now. There is another band off the coast. I mean, it'll still probably be a couple of hours here by the time that happens. But looks like you're still getting some on and off rain out there, but it's a coming. It's a coming for sure. Let's see. The frogs always be going off. It's my sleeping background noise. Yeah, I bet. Anyways, friends, but yeah, once again, hurricane warnings in effect for the Big Island here of Hawaii. For the rest of the islands, once again, we are seeing tropical storm warnings in effect here. So yeah, tropical storm conditions is expected across all the islands except for the Big Island here of Hawaii. For the Big Island, once again, hurricane warnings are in effect out there. So once again, that's where the heaviest of the impacts is going to be felt here overall. So that is that there. Anyways, friends, so that is what we are dealing with here. Hopping back over to the rainfall potential. Once again, we are seeing upwards to 25 inches of rain here for the eastern side of the Big Island of Hawaii. The dark red, once again, 16 to 20 inches here. Of course, we do have 12 to 16 across the bright red here, 8 to 12 across the orange, 6 to 8 across the dark yellow, 4 to 6 across the yellow here, and of course we go into the dark green, 2 to 4, 1 to 2 across the light green here. So how long am I streaming? I'll probably be on all night if you need updates. I appreciate that, but I have been live for almost 2.5 hours. It is 1:37 a.m. my time, so I am up very late. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stream. I hate committing the time. I hate saying that I'm going to stream this amount of time and then have to get off earlier and then I let everybody down. I feel bad for that. I really do. That way I don't really like giving times. I'm just going to stream as long as I can until I start feeling it, which I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling it. I'm pretty darn tired, but I think I'm going to try to push through a little bit longer with you guys. So anyways, but hopping back into the surges here, yeah, like I mentioned, we do have a bit of a surge concern here. As far as the Big Island goes, that's where the greatest potential for surges is. We are seeing 1 to 3 foot above sea level. So that is the water being 1 to 3 foot above its normal level here because of that water that's pushing inland there. So surges of 1 to 3 foot is expected. Now, for like I mentioned, for everybody else, we are seeing 1 to 2 foot of surges out there. But in addition to the surges, which the surges, I mean, are, to be honest, are fairly mild. They are still a concern, don't get me wrong, but they are fairly mild. But, as far as the rainfall goes, once again, that's where the biggest concern is. With all that fresh water that's going to be falling on the island here. I mean that's going to be really a lot of the concern is going to be that flooding. It's going to be that flooding. Now, as far as the winds go and all, I mean, at the point of where we get to the landfall here, let's hop back over to the cone here. We'll go and bring this up for you guys. At the point of landfall, which, the heaviest is expected to be here for, 2 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. So here for the 15th. So 2 o'clock p.m. It's already the 15th for me. So for 2 o'clock p.m. on the 15th, so tomorrow for you guys, that's when we're expecting that system to be at its closest approach to the Big Island here. And on the forecast track, we are seeing the system sustaining 75 mile per hour winds. So that's hurricane force, of course. And, of course, we do have those gusts up to 90 miles per hour here overall. So the Big Island is very elevated. Yeah. It's basically just one big mountain. What's the flooding will happen in Hilo? Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a lower area, and that's the problem too, because those areas out there, I mean, shoot, we have I think that's in the region. Actually, no, this is right on the region of that 12 to 16 inch margin, right next to that 16 to 20 inch margin. So all of that rainwater is going to be running down the mountain slopes into those areas here. Not to mention with that surge that we have, 1 to 3 foot, there's going to be water pushing in from the coast. There's going to be water coming down from those elevations there. So yeah, as you can imagine, I mean, definitely is going to be, quite a bit of a flooding problem here with the system. Let's see. The last update here from the system was at 5 p.m. HST. I'm hoping here soon. Let's see. I think they update every 6 hours. I think 11 p.m. You guys are going to have your new update here from the Hurricane Center. Unless they're doing every 3-hour updates. I think they do that for when a storm gets close, so not too sure. But anyways, as far as it goes right now, though, if we go back over here to the map, as far as where those winds are right now, so once again, here's the orange, that yellowish orange blob here that we have. So this is where those estimated tropical storm force winds are as of 5 o'clock. Okay, so this was as of 5 o'clock your guys' time here, 5 o'clock HST. In which you can see at that point at 5 o'clock, which this was almost 3 hours ago. At that point, you see how close it was to the coast. I'm sure at this point, those tropical storm force winds are already starting to push inland. So I'm sure at that point they already are. So yeah, once again, that's where the estimated tropical storm force winds between 39 and 70. Well, in this case, it's currently sustained at 65. So between 39 and 65 mile per hour winds is expected to be within this area here. Now, once again, for the Big Island of Hawaii, we have hurricane warning in effect for all the other islands, including Honolulu, everybody else, Maui. We are in tropical storm force, tropical storm warnings here. So, once again, 2 p.m. your guys' time tomorrow. That's where we're expecting the landfall or the closest approach to the heaviest impacts for the Big Island of Hawaii to occur at that point. 2 a.m. on Sunday here, that system will be just south of Honolulu for the most part. And as we go into, let's see here, basically the western side, or as we go into 2 p.m. on Sunday here for the western side, mainly just southwest here overall. So that's what we got going on here. Oh my goodness! Mandy, thank you so much, friend, for the $5 Venmo donation. Saying, let's see, thank you for or is it mahalo? Is that how you guys say thanks? I'm not too familiar with it, but thank you so much for your coverage of Lala. You say you're more informative than our local Hawaii news station. Oh, thank you, friend. That is so sweet, Mandy. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, friend. That means a lot. That helps me out a lot. I really appreciate you. I'm gonna go ahead and leave your heart for you. Thank you so much, friend. That is really, really sweet of you. Thank you so much, friend. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. Thank you so much. That is really, really nice of you. Thank you, thank you. All right, so we're going to hop back over here to Surge, or not Surges, the spaghetti models here, y'all. So this is the latest guidance that we have here from the system. Actually, you know what? No, this is not the latest guidance. I'm just now realizing this entire time the guidance is different. Hold on a minute. Because it's glitching because it's still considering Lala as CP01. Let me... Because, yeah, the system's center is not over here. It's more like right here. So, Let me do this real quickly. Let's go back here. Let me pull this back up here. Let's go ensembles. Yeah, because look, there's the center right there. This is behind quite a bit. Let me try 18 Zulu. 18 Zulu. I think this might work, maybe. Oh, yeah, here we go. That's better. 18 0 Zulu, and we'll do 0 Zulu. So that should work. Yeah, that's a lot better. Okay, there we go. There we go. But you know what? Even though those spaghetti models are honestly still pretty much on point here as comparing to where they were in the last update. So yeah, you can see, I mean, there's your middle ground. That's your highest density right here. So pretty much from there to there, and then pretty much from here to here. I mean, you can see, I mean, at this point, it's basically a 50-50, of the storm's center going over the big island of Hawaii. Now, I will say this. Most of the mainstream models do support that. Like, we looked at the HWRF a little bit ago, which I'll actually pull up for you guys. We'll go over that here real quickly. We haven't done that in a minute. But a lot of the mainstream models do support that, actually. So let's hop back over here. Let's go back to HWRF. We'll do Lala here. Yeah, so this is actually a new run. This is the zeros. You can still see it's rendering here. So HWRF here shows, yeah, so it has that landfall there on the eastern central side of the big island there. So that's right at 8 o'clock p.m., so 2 o'clock p.m. your guys' time. It's 8 o'clock my time, so yeah, because you guys are 6 hours behind me. But yeah, we are seeing that. Yeah, we are seeing that there at 2 o'clock. So, but that rolls through and, of course, goes off the other side. Probably, I mean, obviously, if it does do that, it's going to lose some strength, because that's... Storms don't like elevation. It's just as simple as that. They don't like mountains very much. So that itself is definitely going to allow for the system to maybe lose a bit of its oomph. So that's one model, of course. What's up, Cruz? Good to see you. Let's head back over here to HMON here. HMON, yeah, kind of shows the same thing here. This is a new run, too. It's actually just rendering as well. So, yeah, HMON also does show that that landfall. Yeah, right there on the big island there. So these are the mainstream models, by the way. These are the main hurricane models here. Let's try HAFSA here. Yeah, same thing. Landfall right there. Okay, HAFSB. Let's see here. Oh, did I click on the wrong hurricane? I think I did. Oh, I clicked on Hernan. Whoops. Yeah, HFSB is a little bit further south than the A model, but yeah, I mean, those are the mainstream models. We looked at HWRF, HMON, HFSB, and HFSA. I mean, they all do show, that landfall being directly over the big island there. Like I mentioned, here's all the ensemble models. This is a bunch of the, just a bunch of models with a bunch of members. I mean, this is just a bunch of models kind of with a bunch of members kind of pushed all together here. So, but yeah, I mean, majority, it's going to be close. It's going to be either right up against the coast with that landfall, or it's either going to be a direct landfall. So, but anyways, let's see here. Just had another gust of 40 miles per. Oh, did you? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely picking up out there. And like I said, at this point, I would not be surprised if we're starting to get into those tropical storm force winds. Because like we mentioned here about 2 hours ago, if we hop back over here, which we'll go ahead and do here now. Let's do that real quickly. Yeah, like if we head back over here. So this was as of 5 o'clock HST. So this was your guys' time here. And you can see here, I'm actually going to bring up the interactive one. It'll be a little bit better. So you guys can see it a little bit better here. But yeah, you can see that at that point, this was like 3 hours ago. And you can see how close those estimated tropical storm force winds are, which is here in that yellow bubble that you see. yeah, at this point, I mean, we're probably starting to get some of those tropical storm force winds, especially out there by those coastal areas. I'm sure we're starting to feel it. I am going to bring up some mesonets though. So if you don't know what this is, just weather stations. I'm going to go ahead and bring up some weather station data here. We have ASOS stations. We only have 2. I'm surprised we don't have any ASOS on the Big Island here. Let's see here. We are gusting 30. Yeah, 39-ish we're gusting to. I mean, we're not quite the tropical storm force here out there by like areas east of Honolulu, which, yeah, it's expected. But let me turn on both other ones here. Now, I don't know if I buy this because, I mean, this is, look at this. Showing 117 mile per hour wind gusts. That didn't happen. And there's a lot of these stations that are just being weird. I don't trust any of these. A lot of these are RAWs stations. So, yeah, I don't buy that. I don't buy that. So, unfortunately, those are very much inaccurate. So, let's see. Cruz says your sleep schedule must hate you. Oh, you have no idea, friend. You have no idea. Yeah, I mean, I do some coverage in the afternoon, the evening, the overnight hours. I mean, I really hardly get sleep, to be honest with you. I mean, I'd say probably 4 to 7 hours a night, I'd say. I mean, especially lately. Whenever there's not stuff like this going on, then I get more sleep. But whenever there's, concerns for people, I like to dedicate as much time as I can, even if it means I don't get sleep, to help you guys out. I mean, we've almost been, we're pushing 2 hours and 45 minutes here. So, but anyways, someone hooked their blow dryer up their hair. Yeah, they sure did, didn't they? They sure did. All right, friends, let's hop back over here into the rainfall forecast here. So once again, this is from the WPC. This is the Weather Prediction Center, and definitely one of the biggest concerns, actually the biggest concern in my opinion, is going to be the flooding. I don't think that's even an opinion. I think that's just fact. The biggest concern is going to be flooding here, in which we do have, for the eastern Big Island of Hawaii, we are seeing isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rainfall, in which, like we had mentioned, that's up to 2 foot of rain, which that alone's crazy. That alone's crazy. Anyway, so for the dark red, we were talking 16 to 20 inches of rain. For the red, 12 to 16. The orange, 8 to 12. This also includes East Maui, so a bit of a heads up there too. You can see not just for the Big Island, but also for Maui out there too. But we are seeing 8 to 12 inches out there as well. For the dark yellow, so for this shade right here, my cursor's over, this is 6 to 8 inches. For the yellow itself, the bright yellow, this is for 4 to 6. And of course, the dark green, 2 to 4, and the light green here is 1 to 2. Now, they did mention isolated amounts up to 8 inches of rain possible for a lot of those central islands. Now, this also points directly to Honolulu, so you guys are included in that as well. Majority out there by Honolulu, we could see about 4 to 6 inches of rain, but we could see local amounts up to 8 inches. But you got to remember, that is over an even surface. You got to think of a flat plane, right? So just a flat, open area. That's 6 inches of rain standing. Now, if you introduce elevation, a lot of that water that's falling on the mountains is going to roll down, and that's going to allow for the water height to be much higher than 6 inches. So that's what I'm saying. This is why it's such a big problem. And for the area where we have 25 inches of rain, all of that's going to be running down to those coastal areas. That is going to be some nasty flooding. I mean, some serious, crazy flooding. And that's what I'm worried about the most. And, with in addition to, that flooding and all that stuff that's going on there, I mean, shoot, with that being said, I mean, there's going to be that mudslide concern too, because, you're really saturating up that ground. That's another thing I'm just now thinking about too. It's like, with the ground being so saturated and how strong of winds we're going to be seeing with this system, it will make it to where trees could easily come down. Absolutely. So, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I'm mostly concerned for a lot of that rain there, but as far as that direct landfall, I mean, the southern tip right now seems most likely out there by Ocean View area. At that point, that's where we see, where I see the biggest concern here as far as that goes. So, anyways, let's hop back over here to the radar. So, once again, we can already start to see that system showing up on the radar here. Lala's already starting to show up on the radar. Let me pop over here back to radar site. We'll enable this. Yeah, PHWA radar. So yeah, this is the latest guidance or the latest run. Or sorry, I'm making it sound like a model. It's not a model. No, the latest scans of the radar here, and you can see a lot of that precipitation still falling out there by the eastern side of the Big Island here. Looks pretty clear out there by Mountain View. Looks like you guys just got a little bit, but I mean this is moving quick too. I mean this is pretty fast moving rain bands here. So I mean in a matter of let's see here, what is this? So 139 to 145. So 6 minutes. I mean you could just see how much that rain moves in 6 minutes. I mean it's a moving. It's a moving pretty good. I tell you what, we're gonna hop back to velocity. Which once again, this is just a way that I can estimate how strong winds could be at certain elevations. It's by far not an approximation, but it gives me a rough idea of how strong these winds are. It shows about 2,300 feet. Winds of about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Upper 40 to 50s. So it looks like those winds are definitely starting to pick up pretty good. For the majority, 3,000 feet, 30, 40 mile per hour winds there. I think that might just be a part. Yeah, that's just mainly from this band here. So I'm sure that over in these areas, I'm sure it's definitely pretty darn windy. And, like I'd mentioned, I do believe the fact that now hold on a minute. I do believe now that the fact that that's been a little bit since the last Hurricane Center update here, and that is what we're seeing here. So, in which, yeah. All right, see you later, Cruz. Thanks for joining, dude. But yeah, so we'll definitely keep you guys up to date here. Once again, I do definitely plan on doing some coverage and all. So. What's up, Brian? Good to see you, friend. We just had 80 mile per hour winds and a semi blown over North Topeka, Kansas earlier. Oh, did you? Golly. That's what we got in Fern Forest, 2,000 feet. Got you, friend. Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely some strong winds going on out there. Absolutely. Here, if we actually load up our warnings here too and all. Just for a bit of an update for the people just joining, if y'all haven't been here, if you're just tuning into the stream, first of all, welcome. Good to see you. And if you guys could consider leaving a like, hitting that subscribe button if you haven't already. But yeah, for the big island here of Hawaii, we are seeing, like we had mentioned here, a hurricane warning in effect here for the big island of Hawaii. Now, for everybody else, all the other islands, we are seeing tropical storm warnings in effect here. So this is where tropical storm conditions is expected to occur. So like Honolulu, all these areas here, all the other islands except for the big island is under those tropical storm warnings here. But hopping back over here to the surges, I mean, like we mentioned, surging is a concern with this system. If you don't know what surges is, basically this is just how high that water level will rise due to that water being pushed against the coastal areas from this storm. So basically just know that the water on the coast will be rising 1 to 3 foot above normal for the big island of Hawaii. Now, for everybody else here in Hawaii, this is 1 to 2 foot. So 1 to 2 foot above what it normally is. That could cause, the water's going to be swelling a bit. So the water level's going to be 1 to 2 foot higher. So that could be a little bit of a coastal flooding concern, not to mention all that fresh water that's coming out and all. So, I mean, it's, yeah. Let's see here. What's up, Stud? Good to see you, friend. Say more and all. What's up? Say anything on Kaliula? Sorry, I'm terrible with names. I'm so sorry. Do you have a zip code? I'm not sure if it'll bring it up here. It might. Actually, never mind. No, I don't need it. We don't need it. So this is out kind of near. Oh, this is just northeast of Honolulu. Gotcha. All right. So for you, friend, you're under a tropical storm warning. So we are expecting tropical storm impacts. As far as surging goes, we do have a 1 to 2 foot storm surge out there for those coastal waters. Rainfall. You guys are in that 4 to 6 inch margin. This is where we are expecting 4 to 6 inches of rainfall here, which they did mention we could have some isolated amounts. Kailua, is that how you say it? Okay, I think that's how you say it. Let me know if I'm right on that one. But anyways, yeah, we could see some isolated amounts here up to 8 inches, which is definitely a lot of rain. Definitely a lot of rain out there. So as far as the winds and all go, let's see what they have you. Let me actually pull this up here. The tropical storm warnings, they say 20 to 30 knot winds. So that would be about 40-ish, maybe up to 50-mile-per-hour winds there. So, see, very strong wind will cause hazardous seas, which could capsize damaged vessels and reduce visibility. Yeah, make sure y'all tie down your vessels pretty good. If y'all have any boats out there, just bring them in. Bring them in. There's actually people that sometimes anchor them out away from the coast so that they don't slam against like the docks and stuff. Which, yeah, but yeah, make sure that you secure your vessels. Let's see, Kailua. I'm gonna try to remember that. Kailua. It's gonna take me a little bit. Like I said, I am terrible with names, people names, town names, you name it. I suck at it. Nah, honestly, that's my biggest weakness. And if you guys have been sticking around the channel for a while, especially when I do like mainland U.S. Severe weather coverage and all that stuff, you guys will know that that's not my strong suit. But anyways, all right, so let's hop back over to I do want to take a look at the latest satellite imagery here. Thankfully, we do have a mesoflutter. See, mesoflutter 2 goes west here. So we looked at long wave IR a little bit ago. We looked at the water vapor here. We'll go back to geocolor. So obviously now the sun has already set at this point. So this is the latest image of the system. You can see it's definitely getting closer. So there's the system's center right there. I mean, obviously the core is still a little ways away out. Once again, we are expecting that direct landfall about 2 o'clock p.m. HST. So if we go back, let's see here. Because, yeah, I mean, we just had sunset not too long ago. But yeah, if we do go back, you can see, okay, that's the point of sunset. So you can really see a lot of that convection there. So you see those bubbles? See how it looks like it's kind of bubbling? So that's our convection. That's where the heavy storm activity is at there. There we go. So you can really see that. Oh, there we go. That's a great view right there. And you can see it's kind of bubbling. So that's your heavy convection there. That's where you're seeing a lot of the heavy storm activity here. But yeah, if you go all the way back here to the beginning, I mean, shoot, this was a little bit ago. This goes all the way back 12 hours. I mean, you could see those overcast skies are getting closer, you know. And I mean, yeah, we've already been seeing a lot of those rain bands pushing in here too. So yeah, they're only going to get stronger and stronger, unfortunately. So yeah, I said it good. Good. I'm glad. I'll try to remember. Kailua. See, Olathe. It says Ryan. Olathe. Where is that at? Is that in like Nebraska or something? Anyways, but yeah. And of course, if we overlay the radar on top of this tier 2, so we have both of them, yeah, you can see both the radar and the satellite overview. This is actually a really good view to have here. But yeah, you can see that's where the core is right there. And if I do load actually the cone, right now, let's see here. Yeah, right now the system right at the current moment is obviously, I mean, it is a tropical storm. Actually, let's check out the hurricane hunters in a minute. But a little bit of a squirrel moment there. But yeah, we have tropical storm. Right now it's tropical storm. It's kind of an upper level tropical storm, actually. So right now we are sustaining 65 miles per hour, and we are gusting up to 75. So we're already gusting into Cat 1 strength here. As we approach into, let's see, as we approach into 2 a.m., your guys' time, so 2 a.m. HST, here for tomorrow, the 15th, we are going to see this system a little bit stronger, expected to be sustaining 70 mile per hour winds and gusting up to 85 at that point. And then, of course, as we go into, let's see here, 2 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, once again, that is where we do have, that's where that heaviest impacts are expected to be. That's where that landfall is expected to be. Sustaining, once again, 75, gusting upwards to 90 miles per hour here. So that's what we got going on there. And then, of course, we continue moving eastward here. Let's see, at the point where we're south of Honolulu. This is for 2 o'clock in the morning on the 16th. We're going to be having sustained winds of 70 miles per hour, gusting up to 85 here overall. Let's see here. Continuing westward, 2 o'clock p.m. on the 16th, we'll be gusting 75 up to 65. So, yeah, basically we are seeing A little bit of weakening expected, first of all, because of the fact that the system is expected to, possibly go directly over the island here, the big island of Hawaii, which will allow for that wind field to be slightly disrupted, of course, causing it to a little bit destabilize a little bit to weaken. Not to mention, as we were talking about a little bit ago, there's a little bit of wind shear that the system could run into. We'll go ahead and pull it up here on the models here. So yeah, as far as that goes, if you look closely here, you kind of see there is this wind shear here. So we have the jet stream kind of doing this funkiness. So you can see there's the center of the storm right here. That's going to be working its way to the west here. In which that shear is not going to last very long. It's not going to last very long. In which after that storm rolls through that environment, it should start to strengthen again. Just the main reasons that it is weakening is because, one, it's going to be right next to the big island here of Hawaii, and two, once again, that wind shear that we have, that strong winds. Because, yeah, hurricanes and tropical cyclones, they do not like high sheared environments. And what I mean by that is just strong winds throughout the atmosphere. It kind of disrupts the structure of the storm itself. So that really allows for there to be some weakening occurring. So, yeah, that's definitely partially why it's weakening there. So, let's see. Raymond says no wind here, just light rain at 30. Not 30,000. Golly, man, you're way up to 3,010 feet. Gotcha. Ryan says it's in Kansas. It's a name I couldn't say for a while. There's a lot of names I can't say because I'm just terrible with the names and all that stuff. Let's see. I was in Hurricane Sandy, and it wasn't wind or rain destroyed us. It was the surge. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sandy was a beast. I mean, see, Sandy could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, I say that even though Sandy was huge. But the problem with Sandy is it used a lot of its energy in its size. So you can have small, compact hurricanes that are super duper strong, and you can have really big hurricanes that like to use their energy for their size. It just, a lot of it depends how much moisture there is in the environment, stuff like that. Let's see. Raymond says, let's see if I can pronounce this Hawaiian. Oh, great. Okay, I'm going to make an attempt. Y'all, this is going to be ugly. All right. Hama kin uka pua? That's my best guess. That's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. Take it or leave it. But anyways, I know I absolutely... There's no way in heck I got any of that right. Jet stream tears up most hurricanes. It does. It does. And there is going to be a little bit of a jet, like we mentioned here, which is going to temporarily weaken the system as it passes, Hawaii here. But in the extended range, I mean, it is going to, like I said, it is definitely going to, pick back up in strength here overall. So, anyways, but yeah, let's head on back over here, you guys, back to this. So once again, actually, I'm going to pull up the sea surface temperatures here, in which we are seeing a good 26 to 27 degree waters out here, actually up to 29-ish overall. So yeah, we definitely are seeing those waters pretty darn warm. And like we mentioned here overall, we are seeing essentially those waters 26 Celsius and greater for tropical development. Anything under that is considered not really favorable. For tropical development and sustainability. So getting the fact that we have, 26, 27, 28 degrees Celsius waters, I mean, the waters are definitely warm enough. It absorbs a lot of the heat from those waters. So between the whole entire forecast cone not having any unfavorable waters, in addition to, I mean, of course, there's a plentiful amount of moisture, which I'll actually go ahead and bring that up here in the models too. Like if we hop over to, let's see here, model, we'll do, actually, let's go over here to tropical real quickly. Tropical models, we'll do hurricane. We'll do HWRF on Lala here, and then we'll go over to model precipitation. Where is precip water? There we go. So this kind of really shows us, I mean, a lot of the moisture, which it really doesn't look like it's going to have a moisture issue at all. I mean, really at all here. I mean, there's a little streak of drier areas. You can see the PWatt values here down to 1.5, but even then, I wouldn't even call that really dry area at that point. So, anyways, see Richardson Beach got the cold water. Oh, does it? I got you. It seemed like the current SSTs sea surface temperatures are above 26. Here, let me go back over there real quickly. Let's go back to analysis tools. We'll go ocean analysis. We'll do Central Pacific. Yeah, it actually does look like some of those waters out there right on the coastal areas. I know it's really hard to see. Maybe I can zoom in a bit more. There we go. Yeah, that's a lot better. You can see there in the green, that's where it's 26 degrees, 25, 26 degrees Celsius. So it definitely looks like it is pretty cool waters out there. But I mean, like the general environment, that's only a tiny little area. The general environment that storm is passing through is well over 26 Celsius. So, anyways, who's still here in 2026? Not me. No, we're in 2027 right now. That is true. Big Island, it absolutely is true. Yep. Same as Florida. Same as Florida where I'm at. You know, you guys, but y'all are literally in the middle of the ocean here. I mean, the Pacific Ocean is the biggest ocean in the world, of course. Y'all are literally just in the middle of the ocean out there. Which, yeah, you guys get a lot of moisture. Absolutely. Especially being fairly close to the equator here, too. Yeah, definitely is quite a bit here. But anyways, like I mentioned, yeah, moisture at the system is absolutely not going to be an issue. Not going to be an issue. And in fact, like I said, I mean, as far as, I don't want you guys to take me out of context. By me saying not an issue, I'm talking like for the system dying. Because, you know, a lack of moisture kills hurricanes. What I mean by lack of moisture, or not an issue is that. It is going to be an issue for everybody, though, as far as what the, just how much we're going to be seeing here, as far as rainfall and stuff like that goes. I tell you what, we're going to bring this back up here. I want to see where the hurricane hunters are at now. Live flight, where are they at? Are they already back or something? It can't be done that quick. Here, let's hop back over here. I tell you what, we're going to pull this up. And we're gonna pull back up our hurricane hunters here. Oh, that's ensembles. Recon. We'll do Lala. All right, AF 302. There they are. Oh yeah. So there's that center. It looks like they're crossing. It drops on 6. Let me also load up the current Oh, that's current storms on the map. Hold on 1 second. If it's loading. Apparently it doesn't want to show storms. I think I might have broke it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, so they are kind of flying there towards the center. Let's see, that drops on 6. That was in the center. You can see also by the dry mid-levels there, too, that they found. Notice how our green line, that's our dew point. The red line's our temperature. The further spaced out your temperature is from your dew point, the drier the air is. The lower the humidity is, really. The lower your dew point, the less moisture there is in the air. But also the low winds that they're recording here also kind of tells me that's right towards the surface. But they did, yeah, look at that, 992 millibars. Yep, that latest pass-through, or that drop zone measured 992. So that pressure is indeed dropping still. Which, like I had mentioned here, the pressure dropping in a storm means that it is strengthening. Oh, we got an 8 p.m. update here. HST. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Got a new update. 65 sustained still. Pressure is down to 991 millibars. Let's see here. Same forecast with that. Did they change the cone yet? They sure did. Yep. Still expecting, once again, 2 p.m. tomorrow. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I figured so. I figured that those tropical storm winds are now impacting the eastern side of the Big Island. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Hey, man, thanks for the coverage. How bad do I think I'll get? I live in Oahu. Oahu? I'm so sorry. I'm bad with names. Let's see. You're at let's see, 1,037 feet above sea level. First of all, you're very welcome for the coverage, friend. If you can do me a favor, if you can give me your zip code instead, that'll bring me directly there instead of, yeah, because if I pull this up, I mean, I guarantee you, actually, you know what? I'm going to try to pull it up because sometimes it doesn't want to. Oh, you know what? Never mind. No, we're good, friend. No, we're good. Oh, is this just the whole name of the island? Obviously, you can tell I'm not very familiar with Hawaii because this is not a typical area I usually cover, but I am covering it because I want to, because obviously, you know, I want to be here to help. Oahu. Oahu. Okay, I'll try to remember that. I'm learning, y'all. Give me some slack. Anyways, I will use the zip code, though. That would actually be better. Is that hurricane supposed to hit Honolulu? So not directly. You know, the center's not supposed to. Okay, so you're kind of on the southern side here. So as far as what you can expect here, Gamer, we are seeing... so first of all, you're under a tropical storm warning here. But as far as rainfall potential goes, yeah, we do actually have... You're kind of right on the boundary between that 2 to 4 inches range and that 4 to 6 inch range there. So you're kind of right between the two. Regardless, we could have some isolated amounts up to 8 inches here, according to WPC. So I mean, we're getting a lot of rain out there. Surges out there. I mean, we are going to see 1 to 2 foot of surges. So that's 1 to 2 foot of that water being above normal there. So. Anyways, but yeah, we're not expecting, once again, for Honolulu, we're not expecting a direct landfall. The system itself, you can see, I mean, here's Honolulu. There's the cone. The center could end up anywhere in this width. Now, once again, the cone does not mean this is where the effects are going to be felt. No. The cone is simply where the center of the storm could go. So, let's see here. See, he's terrible with Hawaii names. Yeah, you ain't kidding, Raymond. I am absolutely terrible with Hawaii names. I do apologize. Like I said, I'm not very used to covering these areas here, you know? I mean, I do cover this with tropical weather, but that's about it. Anyways, but yeah, so as far as the landfall goes, y'all, once again, we're expecting about 2 o'clock HST. So tomorrow at 2 o'clock p.m., that's when we are expecting the landfall to occur, in which we are seeing, at that point, sustained winds of about 75 miles per hour here. So we are going to be seeing some gusts, so some peak winds up to 90 miles per hour here overall, which, yeah, definitely is some very, very strong winds here. As we go into 2 a.m. on the 16th, tropical storm force, 70 sustained, just 5 short from hurricane force. So, I mean, still is definitely pretty strong. It's supposed to remain a tropical storm and not become a hurricane yet again until the afternoon of the 18th. We have just now hit 3 hours of this live stream. Golly, I tell you what, I'm feeling it pretty good right now. Yeah, it's 2:15 in the morning my time because I'm in the Eastern time zone. And yeah, you guys are 6 hours behind me. So you guys are what, 8:15 p.m. right now? So it's a little bit later over here. I'm a little bit tired. I ain't gonna lie. So I do apologize for that. But let's see, 1 to 3 foot of storm surge basically puts all the apartments and condo bottom floors in water. Yeah, that is true. I mean, a lot of those coastal areas could really feel that. Not to mention all the fresh water coming off the mountaintops and stuff like that, off the sides of the mountains. So, yeah. But back over here to the rainfall, you know, this is the biggest concern. Once again, isolated amounts of rain up to 25 inches here. I mean, definitely a lot. Of rain expected. So, dark red, 16 to 20 here, inches of rainfall. The normal red, the bright red, 12 to 16. Orange is 8 to 12, which you can see that here in Maui, there is a little bit of, that 8 to 12 inch margin there too. So just a bit of a heads up there. But yeah, 8 to 12 inches in the orange. The dark yellow, so this shade right here, this is where we are seeing, 6 to 8 inches. For the yellow, we're talking more 4 to 6, which includes a lot of the islands here, including near Honolulu. So we do have that 4 to 6 inch margin. And then, of course, the dark green, 2 to 4, light green, 1 to 2. Isolated amounts up to 8 inches in these areas here for a lot of these central islands. And then once again, isolated amounts up to 25 inches for the eastern side of the Big Island there. So, let's see here. So thank you for your coverage on a big island here. Well, you're very welcome, friend. You're very welcome, and please stay safe. Like I said, I'm going to keep you guys in my prayers. I'm going to be here for y'all. And like I mentioned, I am going to go live for the coverage. We're going to go live at 2 o'clock p.m. So we're going to go live as soon as we expect that landfall to occur. And I'm going to be live for a while. I'm going to try to stream as long as possible. I might need to take breaks, though. You know, because like where I'm at now, I've been streaming 3 hours, and I ain't going to lie, I'm beat. So there might need to be some intermission between... or some type of like, you know, halftime show or something like that. I don't know. It just, at some point, I'm probably going to have to. I'm going to have to probably make a scene. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a separate scene that like has a bunch of different information. And whenever I do go AFK or, you know, away for a little bit, I will have that up for while I'm gone. But not in the stream, in the next stream, whenever we do our coverage and all, because, yeah, I'm going to need to rest at some points because, I mean, believe it or not, constantly talking, going over the same stuff over and over again, it's very draining. I love doing it. I love helping you guys out. Don't take me the wrong way, but I'm here to tell you, it is very draining. It is a lot. It's pretty difficult to do. Going to be interesting how Lala interacts with the big island. Absolutely. It sure is. Let's see here, 25 inches in fern forest for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, I mean, going to be a pretty good amount out there. So you're in the eastern side of fern forest. You're really in that margin, or they say isolated amounts up to 25 inches. So you're kind of more in the range of 16 and 20 expected, with isolated amounts up to, like we mentioned, 25. Which 24 inches, that's 2 feet, and so over 2 foot of rain, that's possible. Kenda says, good job. I appreciate it. Thank you, friend. Thank you. And like I said, y'all, if y'all have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'm more than happy to help y'all. And, you know, thank you all so much, seriously, for all the support lately. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate you. Like I said, I'm gonna do the best I can to help out in every way I can. So, you know, like I mentioned, if there's any questions you guys have, do not hesitate to ask here. So hopping back over to surges, y'all. So like we mentioned, for the Big Island, we are seeing 1 to 3 foot of surges out here. That's for the Big Island. So once again, that's where we are seeing 1 to 3 foot of water, you know, above that sea level. So above sea level, 1 to 3 foot, because we're seeing a lot of that strong winds, you know, push a lot of water inland, causing, you know, the swelling to occur. So we are going to be seeing a pretty good amount of you know, surge potential out here. And of course, for the rest of the islands, once again, 1 to 2 foot of storm surge expected there. So that's where we stand with that. So surges, thankfully, is more on the mild side, but like I mentioned, still is a concern. Flooding is the biggest concern here. Hopping over into this here real quickly. So showing you guys now where the new updated tropical storm force wind field is. Now, this is where we are estimating those tropical storm force winds to be as of right now. And you can see that bubble is starting to go into the eastern side of the big island of Hawaii. So that is where we are, you know, that's where we're really starting to see those effects, in which you guys, I mean, from what y'all have been saying, it seems like it's getting a little bit windy out there, especially from Big Island. I think you were saying that there's some strong winds out there right now, which, yeah, it's lining up pretty well from the radar estimated wind speeds that we were looking at there too, in addition to Hurricane Center here. So that is that. But yeah, it looks like we're starting to deal with that. But as far as the warnings and all go, once again, for the Big Island of Hawaii, we have a hurricane warning in effect here, which is for the red areas here. And of course, for everybody else here, all the other islands is in the tropical storm warnings here. So hurricane warning obviously means, you know, we are expecting, you know, hurricane conditions. And of course, here for the tropical storm warnings, this is where we are expecting, you know, tropical storm conditions to occur here. So anyways, so that's what we got going on there. Here's actually the wind history that shows you kind of where all the where all those tropical storm force winds have been, and you can see it hasn't been updated quite yet, but it's getting closer and closer and closer. So, all right, friends. I tell you what, I'm not gonna lie with you. I'm getting a little bit whooped. I need to go make me some dinner here soon too. I say dinner even though it's 2 a.m. So I'm probably gonna head off, get me something to eat, relax, because I gotta be up a lot tomorrow doing coverage with you guys. I might break up tomorrow's coverage into 2 segments. That way it would be easier on me. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna try to stream quite a bit, and then of course maybe do another stream. But before I head off here, if there is absolutely any questions that you guys have about this system, let me know. Go ahead and throw it down in the chat. And if not, if you haven't already, consider subscribing. Like I said, it's free. It'll ensure that you guys are staying up to date. And not to mention, if you guys could leave a like as well, it would be much appreciated. And maybe even share the stream. I know it's a lot. I know I'm asking for a lot, but it seriously could go a long way, and it could really help out a lot of people if you guys could. Be much appreciated. Let's see. What do I have for 96734? I got you, friend. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Hold on 1 second. Oh my goodness! No way! I just got a donation from, is it Alana? Is that how you say your name? I am so sorry if I said it otherwise. Coming in with a $10 Venmo donation, friend. Let's see what the note they said. Thank you so much, saying thanks for the coverage. You are very, very, very welcome. Thank you so much. Alana, I think it's how you say your name. Thank you so much, friend. That is really, really, really sweet of you. That helps me out a ton. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, friend. I can cook dinner live. I don't think I'm going to do that. My kitchen's over there, you know. I have my desktop here. It's a little tricky for me to do that. Anyways, you're welcome, Squatchy. But yeah, let's see. Stud, I'll go ahead and pull up your zip code for you, friend. Let me see here. But once again, seriously, for everybody who has donated, thank you so much. I mean, honestly, I can never say thank you enough. It means the world to me. It really does. I mean, me doing what I love and, you know, getting paid for it, I can't be a happier guy. I really cannot. And, you know, by you guys funding us like you do, and I super really appreciate it. That's an interesting way to put it. But you guys really enable me to do this for my job, in which like I said, I can't say it in words. I am super thankful. I am so thankful. Anyway, Stud, I got you, friend. Let me go ahead and pull up your zip code here. So, yeah, you're over... Oh, I already pulled it up here. Okay. So, you're back over here towards... Oh, yeah, you're kind of northeast here. Okay, you're just northeast of Honolulu. Gotcha. Okay, so as far as it goes for you, rainfall-wise, you guys are going to be, and for 4 to 6 inches of rain. That's how much we're expecting. Now, we could see some isolated amounts up to 8 inches. So we could see definitely some pretty high-end, some pretty high-end rainfall totals, even there. You know, of course, it's not going to be up to 25 like we have in eastern parts of the Big Island here. But, I mean, up to 8 inches of rain is definitely a pretty good amount of rainfall here still. Still definitely enough for flooding and all. Surges out there on the coastal areas like we had mentioned. We are seeing, essentially, like we had mentioned here, 1 to 2 foot, 1 to 2 foot of surges. Hold on a minute. I literally just noticed that I set our super chat goal to 50. I did not mean to do that. Oh my gosh. Anyways, but yeah, as far as the surges go, we have 1 to 2 foot. So that is as far as that. If there's any specific information else that you want, let me know. You're in the tropical storm warning here overall. Let's see here. Oh my goodness. Are you serious? Alana coming in with another Venmo donation saying, go take a break. I could take a break and I could come back. I could. But I wouldn't want to leave you guys hanging. That's the bad thing. I'm just going to push through it a little bit longer. I'm just going to keep on pushing. You know what? I'm going to hold off. I'm going to be a man. I'm going to hold off for a little bit. But no, we're not going yet. We'll be here for at least a little bit longer, okay? Anyways, let's see. Hit 38 inches. We're not going to really see 38 inches of rain here. We're not expecting to. We are expecting max potential up to 25 inches, according to WPC here. So, let's see. Tups has a zip code. I got you, friend. Let's go and pull this up here. See what you're doing with. So yeah, you're in. Okay, yeah. So you're gonna be seeing some heavy impacts out here, friend. So first of all, you're in a hurricane warning. You probably knew that, but we are expecting right there 12 to 16. You're right on the line between 12 to 16 and 16 to 20 inches of rain, which is shy of almost 25 inches isolated here. Or why did I say shy? Up to, I'm out of my mind. I apologize. It's late here. My brain's not working properly. But up to 25 inches of rain possible out there. So, and a lot of that water is going to be rushing down the mountain towards you. I hate to say that. As far as the coastal areas, as far as surges go out by you, we are expecting about 1 to 3 foot of surges. So that's 1 to 3 foot of that water level being above normal. So yeah, 1 to 3 foot of surges is kind of what we're seeing here with that. And for everybody else, like we had mentioned, for all the other islands, we're seeing 1 to 2 foot of storm surge. So that's as far as the surges go. Wind-wise, so it depends. It really depends. It really kind of boils down to how close that center gets to you, because obviously the closer you are to the center of that storm, the stronger the wind potential is going to be. And if say if the center is a bit further south, then those winds are going to be totally different. It would be a big difference, honestly, if this thing does a southern approach, scenario one, in the winds. I mean, the winds will still be strong regardless, and to damaging criteria, but there would be probably a pretty big drastic difference between a scenario in which the storm goes further north and really digs its way into the Big Island, as opposed to goes a little bit further south of the Big Island. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to say. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, to be exact of how strong those winds, but I'd say at least 50, 60, maybe up to 70 mile per hour winds is a good ballpark to go off of right now. So, let's see. Larry, thanks for the Go Trophy, friend. Oh my goodness, you guys are so sweet. Thank you seriously all so much. Larry, thank you so much for the GOAT trophy. It means a lot, friend. Let's see, Borrow. Hopefully you're okay with me calling you that. Has a zip code for me. I got you, friend. Let me pull this up here for you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, guys, if y'all have zip codes that you want me to look at, do not hesitate to ask. I mean, because like I said, I'm here to kind of let you know what you can expect. So you're out here by, is it Pahoa? Maybe, in which, yeah, we have the coastal areas, once again, 1 to 3 foot of storm surge. Now, rain-wise, so you're right on the eastern side here. So, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to say, because you're right between that orange and, I mean, there's not much distance there. I think you're in, actually, that 16 to 20-inch margin, in which we do have isolated amounts up to 25 possible. Not to mention, a lot of that rainwater is going to be running down the mountain, and it's going to be a big flooding concern that way. That's really your main thing. And of course, the winds, like I said, it depends on the scenario, but I mean, we could see, 50, 60, 70 mile per hour winds. A good possibility. Absolutely. Let's see here. All right, Jesse, I got you, friend. Let me go ahead and pull this up here for you. See what we got going on out there. Let's see. All right, so we are seeing, this is Ohio. This man over here want me to look at Ohio when we're talking about Hawaii. I'll tell you what, friend. As far as things go, severe weather-wise, we actually have a day risk today and tomorrow for severe weather. Also, day 3. So yeah, we have a little bit of a severe weather concern, but like I said, it's not really the main concern of this or the main focus of the stream. But we do have a little bit of a concern for severe weather. Okay, but anyways, sorry about that. But yeah, we're mostly focusing on Hawaii right now, because they're kind of in distress right now. We have a bit of a problem over here in Hawaii. Let's see here. What about Paradise Park? Got you, friend. Let me pull this up. Let's see. So you're over. Okay, so you're kind of in the. You got a lot of you guys are in kind of the similar area here. On the far eastern side of the Big Island. So pretty much same impacts. I mean, we are seeing a lot of heavy rain, of course. Up to isolated amounts up to 25, like we had mentioned. And then, of course, we do have, expectancy right around 16 to 20 inches. Across the dark red, 16 to 20. The red itself, 12 to 16. The orange, 8 to 12. The dark yellow, 6 to 8. The yellow, 4 to 6. The of course, the green here, 2 to 4. And, of course, the yellow here. Or not the yellow, the light green, 1 to 2. So that's as far as rainfall goes. Let's see. You missed me, bro. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to miss you. Hope you know that. Usually very low in rain, but see high floods coming down. I got you, friend. Let me go ahead and pull up your area. Once again, I did not mean to miss you. Let's see. So you're okay. So yeah, you're over here. Oh, okay. So you're kind of. Oh, you're over in this area. You're near what, Maui? Is this the? Somebody, please don't make fun of me for this. Is this an island called Maui? Right here, because I've heard of Maui. But I'm not 100% sure if Maui's an island or if it's a town on this island. I think it's an island. Maybe? I'm so sorry. Like I said, I'm not used to covering Hawaii. And honestly, this is very rare that I do. So let me know. It would be much appreciated. Anyways, before you, friend, yeah, we do have ourselves a tropical storm warning in effect here. So in which we do have, as far as the rain goes, it ranges. You're kind of right there in the 4 to 6 inch margin. They did mention some isolated amounts up to 8 inches possible. So, I mean, we could have some locally higher amounts being possible out there. Now, once again, for those coastal areas here, we do have the peak surges. including Maui, for all of the islands here, we are seeing, 1 to 2 foot. 1 to 2 foot of storm surge. So once again, that means that the water level is going to be 1 to 2 foot above that normal threshold, what it typically is. And that's going to lead to some coastal flooding and stuff like that. So anyways, so yeah, coastal flooding is a bit of a concern. I mean, the surges are a concern, yes, but thankfully, they could have been a whole lot worse. They could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, this is kind of mild in the surge category, but still, I mean, it is a concern, of course. But yeah, 1 to 2 foot out there for Maui and those areas here. It is not. I thought so. I didn't want to look stupid in front of like almost 200 people. So, but I figured I got to learn eventually. I got to learn eventually, especially if we get tropical systems. I mean, yeah, I cover them for Hawaii. Otherwise, I really don't cover Hawaii a whole lot. I mean, you guys get like, frequent storms and stuff like that, of course, but y'all really don't have like severe weather type stuff as we do. You know what I'm saying? So, gotta get some Z's before this thing gets bad. All right, friend. Well, you stay safe out there. You take care, please. Like I mentioned, just make sure you're ready for the storm. That goes for everybody. Make sure you guys are ready for this here. And, if y'all have any questions at any point while I'm live, I mean, even while I'm not live, you guys can join our Discord. You guys can join our Discord down in the description, and you guys could chat with us. And usually I'm on every once in a while after the stream hours and stuff like that. So that's if you wanted to. But anyways, Maui is the island. I thought so. Anyways, let's see. Maui's a Disney character. Send some videos in the Discord tomorrow. That would be awesome. And if you want, then I could. That would actually be good, because if you guys wanted to share in some videos and stuff, actually, I tell you what. If you guys want to be a big part of the stream tomorrow when we do coverages, to anybody who's in Hawaii, and if you guys have X or Twitter, you guys can follow me on Twitter, and you could tag me in videos that you post. Here is our Twitter here. You can follow us at NWW116_WX, and you can tag me in videos. And tomorrow, when I do the coverage, I can broadcast some of those videos that you guys submit to me, and those photos and stuff like that. That's if you want to, and that would be pretty cool, because that way I can kind of show everybody what's going on. I don't think we have many cameras out here tomorrow for coverage. I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out if I can pull up some cameras and all. Regardless, we're gonna have satellite, radar, mesonet stations, just weather stations, basically. Hurricane hunters, stuff like that. I mean, we're gonna have a lot of data here tomorrow. I mean, as far as like on book, but yeah, I mean, if you guys do want to follow us here, that is there. Once again, NWW116_WX here. So, anyways, how bad is this hurricane going to be? It's going to be pretty good. As far as winds, we have a moderate concern. I mean, wind gusts up to 90 miles per hour at max here. As far as flooding goes, an extreme concern, because we are seeing flooding of up to rain totals up to 25 inches. And of course, we could see a lot of that, rolling down the mountainsides, which, even mudslides, stuff like that could be a big issue we need to look out here for. Let's see here. What else? So yeah, winds, that surges on the mild side, but still, surges are going to be a concern. We are seeing 1 to 3 foot of surges once again. I'll go ahead and pull up that again here. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so surges is 1 to 3 foot for the big island of Hawaii here. So that's where we stand here with that. Jeremy says, I sub. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, if you guys haven't already, consider subscribing. It would be much, much appreciated. Seriously, y'all, thank you all so much. Y'all are absolutely awesome. At what points can Western Big Island expect power outages? So that's actually a really good question. As far as the heaviest impact, so at the point where you guys are really going to be feeling the storm here, this is going to be here. This is at 2:00 p.m. your guys' time. This is at the point where the Western, just the Big Island in general, will be feeling it the most. Now, it's hard to say exactly when you'd lose power outages if you do, because it depends on your grid. It depends on, conditions. And that could fail at any time. It could fail early in the event. It could fail late in the event. In some rare cases, it could not fail at all, but I would definitely expect power outages to be widespread out. So it's hard to say, but like I said, what I can tell you is that the heaviest of it is going to be in the early afternoon, and we are expecting that landfall to be right around 2 o'clock HST, which is your guys' time. Anyways. Does somebody ask if this will be like Katrina? No, you can't really compare Katrina to this because Katrina was, first of all, a much, much stronger system. I think Katrina was a Cat 5, if I'm not mistaken. Cat 4, Cat 5, Katrina was. But like I mentioned, see, tropical systems, they're not equal. They're far from equal. You have some tropical systems that are tiny. You have some tropical systems that are big. You have some tropical systems that move very slow. You have some tropical systems that move very fast. You have some tropical systems that are stronger than one another, higher category. You have some tropical systems that have problems, such as drier infiltration, such as cooler sea surface temperatures if they go into a cooler area, hurricanes with sheared environments. I mean, there's so much variables. It's really something you can't do. You can't compare Katrina to this. But what I will say, though, is, yeah, despite it being a Cat 1, a lot of people are thinking it's not going to be a bad one because it's a Cat 1. No, you can't think like that because, like I said, they're not treated equally because the fact that, or you can't compare them equally, is what I should say, is because, like I said, the flooding here is going to be catastrophic. I mean, seeing up to 25 inches of rain, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's over 2 foot of rain potential here for the eastern part of the Big Island. So, anyways, let's see. No wind, light rain. Got you, friend. Got you. Yep. So those conditions are going to start to get stronger and stronger every hour. And like I said, peak is going to be here for, peak is going to be there right around 2 o'clock p.m. Let's see. Will fish swim on land if it floods? Probably. Yeah, I would think so. I mean, but they probably go back down with the tide. Or back whenever the surges subside. See, another thing is when things calm down, don't go outside. I mean, to an extent, yeah. I mean, because there is going to be some damages and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, there's probably going to be a lot of downed trees and power lines and stuff like that. It could be a bit hazardous. Just wait for the crew to come out and do that. So, what's up, Patriot? Good to see you, friend. Saying Big Island here. We're starting to feel the beginnings of the rain and wind. Yeah, I bet so. Yeah, the estimated tropical storm force winds have already been kind of updated to include a lot of eastern parts of the Big Island. So you see this, or I say a lot, but there's like a tiny little sliver. We do have this yellow blob here. This is where the estimated tropical storm force winds are at. So this is where we believe that those sustained winds of tropical storm force is currently at, in which sustaining 39 miles per hour up to 65 is what it's currently at. So anyways, yeah, maximum sustained wind up to 65 right now. But it starts, tropical storm force winds start at 39. Yeah, 39 miles per hour. Anyways, friends, I should say. I'm going to head off in about 5 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and give you all a little bit of a heads up here because, yeah, we're at I've been streaming 3 hours and 25 minutes at this point. So I ain't going to lie. I mean, because it's 2:40 in the morning my time. I am whooped. I need to get some dinner and stuff too. I still have made dinner. So I'm a little bit hungry too. So in about 5 minutes, I'm going to head off. If you guys have any questions, now would be the time to ask them. And like I said, we're going to head into coverage tomorrow. I need to rest up for coverage for you guys. And like I said, I plan to go live at 2 o'clock p.m. your time. So at the point where it's the strongest. I really should go live a little earlier. I might go live a little early, to be honest with you. I might go live fairly early. So that's, if you have like I said, honestly, what would be important is if you guys turn on those notifications, hit the bell icon. I know it sounds pretty cringy and all to say that, but if you do, it will alert you whenever I do go live, so that way you can tune in as soon as I start. But yeah, I will be live for a lot of it, and if you guys could, maybe consider subscribing if you haven't, and leaving a like, and maybe sharing this to your fellow friends and family in Hawaii if you know anybody out there. It could really go a long way in terms of helping them out and all. So, but anyways, Lightsaber says, love the channel, first time watching. Thanks for all the information. Of course, friend. Of course. You guys are very welcome. Like I said, I'm glad to be here for you all. I'm glad to help out and all that stuff here. So, not a problem at all. But yeah, we're going to head off here in about 3-ish minutes or so. I'll tell you what here. We're going to go over everything one more time. And then after that, then we're probably going to call it here. So, actually, we're going to start off here with the cone here. So like we mentioned, currently the storm is a tropical storm. We are currently sustaining 65 mile per hour winds here. So that's constant winds of 65. We are gusting up to 75 miles per hour here. So we are definitely seeing some pretty strong wind gusts here up into hurricane force here. As we approach into 2 o'clock in the morning here for this morning, we are expecting a little bit of strengthening to occur. We're expecting the storm to be up to 70 miles per hour, gusting upwards of 85. Now, as we go into 2 o'clock p.m. tomorrow, that's at the point of landfall, in which we are going to be seeing the storm a Category 1 hurricane, sustaining 75 mile per hour winds, gusting up to 90 miles per hour. Then we go into 2 a.m. on the 16th, tropical storm sustaining 70, still almost Category 1. Then it goes to the, towards like the areas just slightly southwest of the Western Islands here. 65 sustained, gusting 75 here. And it is expected to weaken due to a little bit of wind shear, but it is farther down in the track, expected to re-strengthen and everything as it passes far west of Hawaii here. So, hopping over here into the hurricane center. So this is our total rainfall forecast here. We are seeing the heaviest amount of impact here for especially the eastern side of the Big Island here, where we have isolated amounts up to 25 inches of rain. You can see there across that far eastern side here of the Big Island of Hawaii. You can see out there by, these areas here, we have isolated amounts up to 8 inches for a lot of these central islands, including like Maui and stuff like that. But yeah, so across the dark red, this is that 16 to 20 inch margin for the red itself, 12 to 16 inches. Orange here is 8 to 12. The dark yellow is 6 to 8. The yellow is 4 to 6. And of course, the greens 2 to 4 and the light greens 1 to 2. So we're definitely going to be seeing a pretty good amount of rainfall here and stuff like that with this system here. Oh my gosh! Mandy! Coming in with the support. Thank you so much. Coming in with a $15 Venmo donation saying, all of us in Hawaii appreciate your dedication and care. Dinner is on us. Thank you so much, Mandy. That was so sweet of you, friend. Thank you. You did not have to do that. Oh my goodness. If you guys could, please give Mandy a big thank you in the chat. That was super nice of you. Mandy, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. That was super nice of you. Huge shout out goes to you. I could never say thank you enough, but seriously, thank you so much. That was really, really sweet of you, friend. That was super nice of you. And then, of course, so then we go back into the surges here. For the Big Island, we are seeing 1 to 3 foot of storm surge here, which is kind of the most we're expecting out of the system. And for everybody else, we are talking about 1 to 2 foot of storm surge here. So, yeah, we're definitely kind of on the lower side of storm surge, thankfully. But we are seeing that potential. We are seeing the potential there for, of course, a bit of, storm surge. But, it could be a whole lot worse, thankfully. But, yeah, it's still got a little bit of a surge concern here. Alrighty, friends. Well, we just hit 3.5 hours of streaming. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and call it a stream here. I just want to say thank you all seriously so much for joining here. Once again, a big shout out goes to Mandy. Also, Alana as well. Thank you guys seriously for the Venmo donations and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Like I said, you guys allow me to keep doing what I do, so thank you so much for that. It means the world to me. But like I mentioned, yeah, if you guys want to join our Discord, go ahead and join down in the description. Also, if you guys want to follow us on Twitter or X here, follow us at NWW116_WX. And that's how you guys can submit reports to me for tomorrow whenever we do end up going live. If you guys want to send in videos and pictures and stuff like that, you can do that there. So, alrighty, friends, I'm going to head off for now. Thank you all for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay safe out there. We'll see you guys tomorrow for coverage at some point. Hope to see you guys then, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.